Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. We're here to bring you yet another week of fantastic TFT competition. My name is Khroen, and joining me is Boopasaurus. Boop, welcome back. We missed you last week. How are you doing?
I am doing all right. I'm old and it's windy, and so I've got allergies right now. That's like the focus of my entire life at the moment. But
Yeah.
I'm super excited to come back and watch some games because we are on the Worlds patch. So we're
Yes.
probably going to get some nice clues as to what we're going to see for the next couple weeks,
Yep.
and kind of see what strategies will reign supreme.
Exactly. We're on this new patch, just dropped yesterday, 12.7, as you mentioned, the Worlds patch. And we always love to do here at Fight Night Rising is to speculate and kind of see how these players start to adapt and mold this meta and anticipate how it's going to look next week and then, the week after that when it comes to Worlds. But we have 16 players who can all, kind of take their shot at it. And speaking of those 16 players, let's go ahead and introduce them. They are split into two lobbies. In Lobby A, we got last week's champion, Who. We also got Harukawa Maki, Draconic Venom, Drizzlessly, AZL, Purple Pouring, Foam Gang, and Yoon Yuki running at that lobby. A pretty good one. But boop, there's Lobby B as well.
We got Pat Slice Pizza, Glaceon, Spetham, bless you, oh no, BXI, Yixin, Will Win, Yaktopa, and Pikachu 317.
Yeah, there's a few names here that I'm excited to see again, especially from last week, Glaceon, then also players we've seen before like Yoon Yuki and Zelendario as well. Those names definitely stand out. And of course, they're all competing not only for just, the title of champion of Fight Night Rising, but the Rising prize pool. Take home a little bit of cash as well, $150 in specific for first place. Second place gets 75, third place earns 50, and fourth place gets $25. And of course, you can't forget the top four do come back from the previous week into next week to try to defend their title and earn some more cash. So, boo, as 12.7.
Yep.
It has changed a decent amount of stuff. But I want to first talk about all of the augment changes that happened because there was a lot of them, and I think this is really moving augments forward in a good direction, knowing that, oh, you can't get these certain augments at, say, like, stage 3 or stage 4 when they're a little bit less value, a little bit useless, and you might, be like, oh, why do I get this here, right? That's a BG, more please, and, more in the TFT dev team are like responding to that feedback and saying, okay, they want to tailor the augment experience so that it is, good for all the TFT players. And I think this patch, with that in mind, is a big success.
I totally agree, and I think the one of the coolest things about moving these augments in this direction is the fact that it's just going to clean up the game,
Yeah.
right? Whenever you're going to want to make a certain type of play, you're going to be more likely to be able to do that because you're not going to get a literal zero augment
Yeah.
that doesn't, that pretty much doesn't exist as a choice for your, last three augments. So basically now what you get the opportunity of is given an augment that you don't like that is a little bit better for your situation than one that is just absolutely awful, might actually be detrimental because there are some augments that could potentially pull power away because it doesn't help you gain power, especially near the end of the game.
Exactly. And there's a lot of other changes as well, and I'm sure we're going to see those as we do get on into the game with perspective of course, who is our last week's champion. Boop, I know you like the name, and I do too.
Yeah, I think I giggled every time you said it so far. But yeah, returning champion. So what were we playing last week that brought us here?
Ah, that is a great question. If I remember correctly, it was a. Oh man, I'm trying to remember. I think it was some innovators, but I could be completely misremembering. That's a good question. I think the patch in this patch still does lean towards innovators being solid. I think this Seraphine buff was great. Sure, the Jin nerfs might dissuade you a little bit, but still, if you compare Jin now to Jin in just 12.6 before the B patch, it is still better. It is still that 10 mana buff, so I think we'll still be seeing some Jin come through and maybe in that innovator kind of package.
Yeah, I think Jin still has a really good place. I think a lot of the forecasts right now are actually okay. The one that I'm most curious about, and we were talking about this before the cast today, is Sivir,
Yeah.
as the build does seem to be moving away as we get from the Static Shiv, and it's going to be Striker Heart, so we're going to see it, most likely,
Yep.
when it comes to this comp. So we're going to be moving into a potential Scrap and Striker combo. We have a Ziggs right now, but you can actually get into that 4 Scrap, 4 Striker moderately in a moderately large amount of ways.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in the stage 3, whether you roll down at like 3-2 on 6 or 3-5 on level 7. If you find that Irelia enable both of those synergies, right, with that Scrap and the Striker, definitely pop off. This early Striker Heart is a commitment, right? We're definitely going to be seeing this be a focus on either a Sivir or Irelia, or dare I say both. Even though this patch did specifically target that Sivir and that Striker build with that AD focus with these items like Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, things like that. But I think there still is room for that composition to succeed, especially with the opener that Bruh has in this situation, getting that Striker Heart.
Also, doesn't Brubba Bruh give you some Goobum vibes?
A little bit.
I don't know. Yeah, it looks like they could be related. uh, anyway, good luck, Goobums, in Worlds, by the way. Bruh, though, gonna make that front line and do a little bit of extra work. So we have the Swain in there, knowing that we're probably gonna get our Hex Tech bonus in with a Sivir a little bit later. I mean, with that Striker Heart, there's really no other places to go other than that comp right now.
Yeah.
So we can just try to get as good of a front line as possible and try to last as long as possible. And with certain comps, we're going to be able to take the win because we just have too much HP in that front line. And Ziggs, as much as it's crazy to say this, is enough damage there from the back line with this kind of setup.
Definitely. Jirachi and I were memeing last week about Ziggs and the fights, about the fact that the fight's either a Ziggs diff either way. Either Ziggs completely trolls and it's bad, or he actually hits his bombs and it's a Ziggs diff to where he actually wins it out. Even though it's crazy to kind of think of it in that way of Ziggs being a good unit. I struggled to wrap my head around that concept myself, but you know, sometimes that is the reality that we live in. And the reality is that there's some boards that are very strong, especially we see a Talon 2 already with an RFC being slammed. Yeah, these early games that are playing Yordles like we see for Harukawa Maki, they're going to be punished really, really hard.
Yeah, Draconic Venom actually just goes to level 5 on this round. So we're really pushing to lead the pack going into the carousel. So if you lose this second round, you're going to be most likely to pick first or second on the carousel. We'll see if that's going to happen. But, you know, this is going to be a potential Ziggs difference here when it comes to this fight. Which Ziggs will reign supreme? Which one will actually be able to hit the free throw? They both do. But one Ziggs is going to survive a little bit better as the Swain is able to recoup some of that health and keep his Ziggs nice and safe.
Yep. Harukawa Maki knows that they're just farming some gold Yordles, so even gets a Corki 2 out of that. So all of a sudden, Harukawa Maki can consider going on a bit of a win streak. Maybe once this carousel pick comes through, they can get a belt, slam a Zeeks for some early aura items, transition that into AD a bit later on down the line. And some poppies are eventually going to pop out of this portal, so the front line will be okay once that Poppy 2 upgrade comes through. Not bad for Harukawa Maki if their losses right now can be just a 1 or 2 unit loss, or maybe turn this all the way into a win streak.
Yeah, this is a winnable round. Drizzlessly right now having a pretty weak board. Brand can take out at least 1 unit a round. So let's see if that's going to be enough tanking from the Blitzcrank. And it might be that Poppy 2 might have been the difference here, as the Brand is going to break through that front line pretty easily. So Corki not able to do it to the Blitzcrank, but the Brand is able to do it to the Poppy, and you're seeing the results of it.
Yep. And that is okay, just a 2 unit loss, not bad. Harukawa Maki still gets this lost streak gold and gets to farm gold from the Yordles, but we move into the stage 2 carousel. And there's also something interesting that I saw that last round. It was that the opponent there, Drizzlessly, got Tome of Traits and picked Debonair, but it was just sitting on the bench. So that tome is going to, that Debonair emblem is going to pop a bit later on. Maybe, dare I say, in a Draven composition, because Draven did get buffed in this patch, and someone else is already running a Talon, so contesting that might be a little bit off the table right now. But I'm going to check in first with Yuki running a scrap innovator board.
Yeah, actually, Yuki has had some success here at Fight Night in the past. I believe make it 3 or 4 weeks. And so it's always interesting to see them come back after a little bit of a break when they kind of understand what is about to happen, right, in the tournament setting. So I gotta assume Yuki to do pretty well today, as we do have the Last Whisper on the Ezreal. This is still going to be an innovator direction right now. We have a really early Echo, not really early anymore, but at least we do have the Crab. We also have the Last Whisper, which could once again be going into a Sivir. So, I mean, it seems like the Sivir is going to show up in what board and in what capacity item-wise is going to be what I'm most intrigued by.
Yeah, I think so. It's likely that somebody lands on that. From this spot from Yuki, it definitely could lean the direction of Jhin, just because he can transition very easily into that Jhin board and still have the innovators in the whole time. Yuki, strong board, right? This Ezreal, it's scrapped into a BT there, has Last Whisper, able to have any early, armor shred if there are bodyguards. If not, he just kills the units anyway. And finds a Gnar in this situation. It has the opportunity to drop Ziggs if necessary, but putting the Ezreal in that Socialite Hex could be very risky if there are any Blitzcranks, right? These corners are always super, super risky if you don't have things like Banshee's Claw or Quicksilver.
Yeah, Blitzcrank's in a lot of comps now, too, so you just kind of have to assume a lot of the time that it might be there. But that's exactly why you want to scout. It's because when you don't go up against that Blitzcrank, the advantage you get from being able to corner is really, really big. So it's not just to see where the Blitzcrank is, it's to see where the Blitzcrank's not, so you can get as much value as possible. And you're seeing that right now. It's probably going to be a similar situation on whatever Hex this is, but we got the Socialite bonus on the Ezreal. We win by the Ezreal, so overall, really good play.
Definitely. Ezreal even scrapped into a Zephyr there and Zephyr'd the enemy's Socialite Hex, which was that carry Gnar. So it wasn't able to actually, do enough. Moving over to Purple Pouring, something similar, not quite the 3 Innovator yet, but does have a Clockwork with an early Orianna and has Ezreal with a couple of great AD items. The thing is, Purple Pouring is on the opposite end of Yuki. It is mostly a lost streak, but even that was interrupted, so we don't have a lot of gold, are already on level 5, and the IE is still going to be good for our pivots out in the future, but if we don't roll into that 3rd Innovator, this comp is going to be a lot weaker, so stabilization is not going to be guaranteed.
Oh, no, not at all. Especially since we are running kind of like the low-cost version of this with the Clockwork in the front line, Camille. So we're able to roll into a 2nd Singe too, so that's on our way.
Yeah.
We would have loved for that to be an Ezreal or another Innovator. Even a Zillion would probably be awesome right now. Yeah. But this is another one of those comps that has thrown in a Blitzcrank, right? So you really do have to look at those corners. There's 2 powers right now with that Blitzcrank. We might be able to snow cone on this, but we're most likely going to be... Oh, it looks like we're going to snow cone. Or maybe go into a Bloodthirst. Oh, yep, we're snow coning. So putting it on the Orianna, so that's going to help with the attack speed on the Ezreal. Nice Deathblade roll as well. And that's how you kind of break a lost streak on accident with Scrap. Sometimes the item choices can be very, very strong. Now it's going to be tanks versus Talon, and it should be Talon all the way, even though it's been nerfed.
Yep, even though Talon nerfed, it's still early game Talon 2, RFC, plus the Rage Blade, going to be doing just a little bit too much damage to deal with there. As we get a chance to now see what AZL is working with, and it is going to be Innovator Arcanists, Scholars as well. I don't believe 2 Scholar got changed, but if you go up to like 4 and 6 Scholars, they will give you more mana. That's Leona too. Ooh, interesting here. These are interesting Singe items as well, making him an Arcanist, putting Morellos on him. It's just going to be for the early game, but okay, maybe even just going to pivot on out of that before, anything committal happens if you get to attach to your units.
I say that all the time, right? Unfortunately, it's the only relationships I have during my day, so it's a little bit harder for me with some special circumstances. Yeah. But Brand with Morellos is just like a budget Malzahar with Morello's, same kind of concept.
Yeah.
You're going to need to ult a lot more in order to find that value. But if your front line is good enough, Bran is going to be good enough, like it is right now. And even with that, Zephyr and Yuki will be losing this win streak.
Yep, how many more units can Israel kill? Just the one, because Vex shields again, and Yuki finally gets that win streak snapped. But they're still in a really good spot. They had 50 gold level 6, whereas AZL here is barely over 20 on 3-3 now, as we get our second augment choice coming through. Featherweight's Thrill or Jeweled Lotus. Looking like just a Thrill angle here, but actually it could be Jeweled Lotus. But okay, it does decide the Thrill. But I think there was an argument for Jeweled there. But ooh, actually rolls into the Malzahar, so this is going to be a lot better than just that brand.
A lot better. I mean, I literally called it the budget version of this unit. So I would hope so. And the other thing that has happened here is the Morellos has moved over to the Zyra. So a lot of people will actually put the Morellos on Malzahar because he's probably like one of 2 units in the entire game that benefit from Morellos as like a damage type of item. To add to the burn over time, especially if you get the execute mutant buff. It's super good to do Morellos on the Malzahar, but we're going to put it on the Zyra, and we can put a little bit more power on the Malzahar anyway. And I'm pretty curious to see where this Arcana spat will end up landing at the end of the game. I've been seeing a lot of Jinx holding that spat, so that could be where we're going to end up.
Yeah, definitely. Potential is there up against Drizzlessly, who is up to 5 Debonair at this point, even investing into some Debonair emblems further. I mean, they are level 6, so Brand reroll is probably off the table, even though they already have Gunblade Brand. It is going to be enough to win these early game rounds, because, yeah, 5 Debonair this early, very, very powerful. Does it turn into something like a Zeri, though? Zeri did get buffed coming into this patch. Generally should just be, ran as a secondary sniper or to Jhin, or if you're going these full legendary boards, you can throw a Zeri in there. But there really hasn't been this priority on letting Zeri shine in a comp that is focused around her instead. But this could be just that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see because I believe some of the items that she uses and the items that she's bad against were adjusted in her favor as well. So Zeri, especially the Debonair version, might be able to rip through a lot of that HP to help something like the Jhin kind of execute the rest of that HP damage, as they're probably going to be ulting at around a similar time if they're both there.
Yeah.
But we have Debonair and... Is that Jeweled Lotus? Yes, yeah. It looks like Jeweled Lotus there for this Talon comp. 2 Nocturnes, because why not? I thought
looks like a double trouble
board for a second, but that's not the case. We do have our Debonair, so that's going to be a lot of damage coming in from that Talon. But it's all going to be auto-attack damage, and then the bleed will be secondary here to start. But once we get that ramped up with that Rage Blade, we should be good to go.
Definitely. This is where this Talon board is falling off a little bit, though. There were 2 losses in a row, although it seems that they weren't very harsh losses. Going up against a Draven right now, but Talon... Did Talon get the tag on it, actually? It doesn't look like it, so... Another loss continuing here for Foam Gang, going up against Harka Maki, who is level 7, had to roll down to get to a point where they did stabilize, but this is where the lobby HP is going to start to even out a little bit. These top players, like Yuki took some losses, like Foam Gang took some losses, and we can separate who really, high rolled this early game, who was able to maintain this win streak even further, and then push this level 8, level 9 situation, maybe like Drizzlessly, right? They're still up there at 90 HP on a win streak, heading into Wolves. If they can maintain it for this one last round, that's going to be huge for them.
I 100% agree, and I'm curious to see what happens if an MVP Talon comes up. Because I don't VIP Talon, because I don't think any of these I don't think that Talon on board is a VIP.
No, I don't believe so.
So we still are looking for it. Blitzcrank is going to pull the Swain, so a little bit less of a front line for our friend with our Arcanus Zyra. Oh, thank goodness for Thrill the Hunt there when it comes to that Malzahar. We got the blue buff, so that definitely works out. And Thrill the Hunt and Malzahar is notoriously a great combo as well, because it always feels like you're going to be getting the advantage on the Malzahar, especially if you're 2v1ing it. But once that kill comes through, the Malzahar gets super strong as the striker goes onto the Ezreal on our striker board We got two people on fire right now, 90, 84 HP, but in terms of HP split, this is pretty normal. Harukawa, though, is on the lower end for sure. Around 40 is pretty rough for this amount. Not uncomebackable, but not the bestable right now.
I do agree. It's not the worst we've seen, but it is certainly a little bit worrying. Oh, is that a Draven 2? It was. So, okay, I'm less worried, actually. Draven 2 at this point, especially being recently buffed. And I don't believe Harukawa Maki lost the last 2 rounds. I think after their 3-5 roll down, they are winning out. Looking at Draconic Venom with some twin shots here. Actually, 3 twin shot and a fully built Lucian, but this is not just the Lucian carry, Omega strong build. It is still going to be decent. We have the Ludens. We've invested now into frontline items like a Titans and a Declaw for the Vex. But this Lucian is going to fall off at some point. But will Draconic Venom still just invest in rerolling? Just all the way down or not at this point, right? But soon.
I would, man, what an interesting question, because the Ludens here, I think, is to kind of eke out a couple more rounds with this comp without having to make that decision. But as of right now, with the shielding here, with the front line with the Vex and the Leona, it's really no damage at all. So Draconic Venom is going to lose this round by a lot. This is our second talent comp as well. So I think that's 2 or 3 Debonair comps right now, with a Draven 2 already on the board, and we are still printing Yordles here too. So that's why we have the economy. How we use it, though, is going to be the question. 4-2 is not normally a place that you're going to be spending a ton of money, but we are going to be investing just to put that Gnar into the Socialite Square.
Yeah, definitely. Unless you're unless you're so rich that you're going level 8 at 4-2 and rolling it down, you're not going to be rolling down that aggressively usually. This Lucian build, though, is a little bit of cause for concern if it does remain to all these items remain to be on that Lucian, because that Last Whisper and Titans aren't going to be that great. Lucian really scales very well off of AP builds, being an Arcanist or being supported by Arcanist package. And there are no Arcanists here. There's just the Vex in the front line. So this Lucian's going to struggle to take down these units, as we see here right now.
Shielding and Ludens. It's funny because the item used to do very, very well against shielding, but the augment does not. So it's just the extra damage that the Ludens provide you is just completely mitigated by frontline shields like Vex and Leona. And the Debonair Vex is going to have a bigger shield because of the extra AP as well. And here we have Drizzlessly, who has been running this brand since the early game. We're not re-rolling it, but we are itemizing it.
Yeah, this is really, really fascinating, this board state from Drizzlessly. They have a Debonair emblem. They're going with this dual carry situation here, VIP brand and the Talon, who has more items than the brand. And it's working out, I think, wonderfully at this point. They're still 85 HP. Even if they lose some rounds on stage 4, it's just going to allow them to push levels, right? Their losses aren't going to be by too much. They're still going to be in a really good spot to where even if they do fall off, it's likely that they can bleed out to, at the very least, a top 4, and perhaps even further than that.
Yeah, they're going to win this round too.
Yep.
Even against a unit like the Vi, who is unable to break through any of the front line. And once again, this shielding super, super strong. The Leona cannot be underestimated, especially with that Gargoyle Stone Plate. So it's going to be even tankier than usual. And now that we're seeing a lot of Debonair comps, just in general, the itemization becomes super important, and which VIP you've chosen does. But now that we've been seeing it, the alternate comps that we're seeing the Striker comp so far on that board. But right now, it really just seems to be a Debonair convergence right now.
It definitely does. A lot more than I think I really would have expected at this point. I mean, even 2 Debonair comps that go more than 3 Debonairs are more than I would expect. But here's another one from Harukawa Maki. It is the Draven focus. There is VIP Draven, and Harukawa is in a spot where they're on a 5-win streak. They're leveling up to 8. Find their frontline upgrades. If they can find that Braum too, oh man, that would be massive. But even having a unit like Camille is so important, because it is going to enable the Draven Challenger, and it's going to enable that Clockwork, and Oriana 2 is just a fantastic unit herself. So everything is working out right now for Haruka Maki. 38 HP is not a bad spot to be in either. It's not like they dropped all the way down to like, in the 20s or below. They still have multiple lives remaining if they do take some unfortunate losses.
Yeah, remember Harukawa had this HP at the last PvE round.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, we've just been streaking since the last time we checked in, and that's just the power level of someone like Draven. Also has the Edge of Night on it, where Morton says is in a really great spot. When it comes to that unit, and it's actually super intriguing when a ranged unit like Draven has it. So when the GA state goes through, the aggro pops off, and then all of a sudden Draven has a really easy target. So if he's able to get going once again, the Edge of Night might be a round winner. I'm sure we're going to see it, as it's going to be Thrill the Hunt back foot. That's going to be nice for the Draven.
Yeah.
But do we need the attack speed? Or do we need the heals for Thrill?
The heals would be a lot safer, and there are a lot of assassin comps that are running around with these talons, so I do really like this Thrill of the Hunt pickup here. Sure, if you position Draven perfectly every single round on the perfect side, then he will probably benefit more from that back foot, but Harukawa just wants to be safe, and again, I think that is the correct decision at this point in time. There's a lot of units here that don't really do much besides just their synergies, like Renata 1 with no items, Irelia 1 with no items, it's just in there for the scrap. Wow, wait, these boards are... Wait a minute.
A lot of things have changed in the last 2 rounds, folks.
Yep.
This board no longer looking like an automatic win on every single round. There's a 6-striker board that we will see. We've got the Jinx now for Draconic Venom as well. This is that Luden's board, so let's see if the Jinx is going to be the difference maker. Jinx doing a ton of damage. We also have the twin shots in the front line. Oriana could have been a little bit better. Jinx going right into the back line, but is going to be taken down by the Draven. And this was not close at all. I thought it might be just a tad closer. I think Jinx can usually take out a unit, but not this time.
No, yeah, the Jinx didn't have any items, and that phalanx for the backline resistances. When Jinx jumps back there, it's a lot harder for her to take down units, and it's still these kind of, I would say, scuffed Lucian items on a Lucian 2. I think it's time to sell that, swap the items over to a Gangplank, because that was a GP3 online. But still, there's time for that after this neutral round. But Boop, there are 3 players on single-digit HP already. There's AZL on 2, Purple Pouring Infom Gang on 3 HP. It's not often we see so many players like holding hands this low on Raptors.
I mean, some of us barely made it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get the items that we need. So if you're in the bottom side of this leaderboard and you don't get very many items on this particular round, it's pretty much over for you. As we're going to get rid of the binary value to get best in slot items, in my opinion, on the Sivir. A lot of people dropping the Shiv in favor for the Last Whisper. The bounces can trigger the Last Whisper, so it can help enable things like Irelia very, very well, but mostly really enabling themselves. This binary airdrop value gets taken down by 33.3% repeating, but let's see if the best in slot is going to be worth it.
Yeah, I think saving this belt is also worth it, because as soon as the carousel comes through, that's another unit that can benefit from binary. Ooh, a great Zephyr, though, from Harukawa Maki, and it's going to be the power of Draven versus the power of Sivir. Sivir got nerfed, Draven got buffed. Which one is exactly better? No, it's not just those units there, it is the complementing ones, but it looks like Draven's going to be the favorite in this situation. Probably had something to do with that Zephyr as well, but Draven can't count him out anymore. Maybe it is time for Draven to really shine in that spotlight, especially when he's at VIP.
But what I did see was Sivir could totally take that round if we were positioned on the other side of the map, for example. So it's not completely over. Sivir does show up. We've been trying to push Sivir out of the game for 2 patches now. But unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you are, she is still here. I love the Frozen Heart on Echo. I like to reiterate that all the time. It's not usually an item you see built right away, but on an Echo, it's going to be so very good. We're going to drop scrap value on the Echo, but we're going to get binary airdrop value on it. And the Irelia, a lot of times, is there to hold things like Zeke's. So you're not really going to be seeing a ton of like attack damage heavy items, but the Edge of Night is another really great item for someone like Irelia, where the lack of targeting after falling into the kind of like GA state, right, is going to give you an extra life.
That was really, really good positioning for you and Yuki, protecting the Sivir and allowing her to instantly take down the talent of Drizzlessly, snapping Drizzlessly's win streak and showing the power of the Sivir build. And maybe you know why these strikers, that striker Sivir was nerfed, but it's still going to be very good. Last round, Purple Pouring went down in 8th, and now AZL drops in 7th. But Yoon Yuki doesn't even have to roll for more upgrades, just naturally gets them in every shop. Insane board strength, because the Aurelia is going to be scrapping to a full item and then binarying to another full item as well. So that's a full build Aurelia. Even though they aren't the hand-picked items, they're still going to be very, very powerful now along with the Sivir. But looking at Draconic, Draconic did what I was hoping, and that was selling these Lucians and putting all the items on a Gangplank. Now, can Gangplank tear through this whole board?
We'll see. I think we were maybe hoping for a Blitzcrank on that pull, as he gets blown up immediately from the Draven. But I do want to give props to Draconic Venom. 7-game loss streak, and we might finish in 5th. So that's not awful whatsoever. So you're in an okay position right now. Yeah, so, I mean, we lost 8 rounds in a row there and ended in 5th place. So you're actually pretty cool with that, as... You truly looks like Goobums, like Goobums Jr. As Bruh is grabbing the Last Whisper.
Yep, Last Whisper for that striker composition. Throw that one onto the Sivir that already has 2 really good items. Draconic Venom, obviously in 5th, means that we are on to our top 4. And that is... Oh, that's the striker gold augment, the like one where it auto crits every once in a while, the striker blows, concussive blows, something like that. But it is really good with this fully 6 striker build. It is 3 socialite as well, enabling this Irelia, or excuse me, the Sivir. So even though it is only Sivir 1, she's still going to be doing deceptively a large amount of damage. I don't think Bruh though, unless they hit Sivir 2, are going to be able to get much more than a 4th place in this situation. Especially because they have to lock for even just the pair of Irelias. Definitely behind in terms of you know, the units on board.
Yeah, a lot of damage though from the Sivir. Also, a lot of damage from the Senna there on that ult with that striker bonus. So this wasn't even close. So Sivir outfrags everybody there. We've got some scholarly Silco here from Arcane as well. The Draven not even gonna be struggling to win that round at all. So I think we do have a couple comps popping up right now. I think we have a Draven comp, 2 striker comps, and I'm blanking on the last one, but I think it might be 3 Debonair comps here.
There's a Harkon Maki, yeah, has the Draven. There is one that was that Brand Talon. And if the other one's, yeah, if the other one is also Debonair, that is 3 Debonairs.
So, I think it's 2 Debonair, 2 strikers is what we're going to be seeing here, because 2 plus 3 is 5, Chris. NA math. Harukawa Maki now. The Draven's going to be in the Silco spot, so we're going to be able to get our extra damage in really quickly. We're not going to be moving around, so we're going to catch our axe and get through this front line super easily. So it's so interesting, because a lot of people, I think, dropped IE for a little bit. Except for on a couple characters like Jin on the last patch. And so we haven't been seeing a ton of Brambles. But now the IE is not going to get stuck on any Bramble vests right now, because there aren't any. And that might be the difference maker right now, as the Hot Hand of Justice isn't awful either. We're going to drop binary value for someone like Jace or Irelia, but it's okay item for both of them.
Yeah, it's usually going to be worth it to drop binary value in that situation, unless Yoon Yuki wants to greed until stage 6 carousel if they think they can survive until then, and then get another binary item on somebody else, which, I mean, honestly, from Yoon Yuki's spot, I think you can play for it. They're going to be going level 9 right now, making their board stronger, even though I think they had a loss to Bruh. That loss was not indicative of their overall power levels. They're going to be swapping this Echo, putting Jinx in instead, and going Striker Jinx. You talked about it earlier, Boop. The power of Jinx right now is yeah, gonna be pretty solid, and we can use this Hand of Justice on her as well, and Frozen Heart somebody else, which is just gonna be a Nar 1, but hey, that's perfectly okay.
Oh
Wait,
my
what?
goodness.
Double jinx top?
Oh my goodness.
No way.
Oh my goodness. In the same pack, we're going to go ahead and get that jinx going. So honestly, we're probably okay with Silver getting Zephyred right now because we haven't lost yet. So if the jinx is going to be able to take this round, we know that the Zephyr is literally not even useful, but it looks like the Zephyr does matter here.
Wow.
As that's actually a pretty big loss. I think we were really excited about the jinx, but that is a lot of damage coming in from that Zeri that time.
Yes, it is. That Zeri, that Draven, really good. I mean, both of them were buffed into this patch. Maybe it is the time of Debonair's Boop. I mean, we see multiple Debonair compositions making it to the top 4, even though they're not all Draven focused. Definitely going to be on players' radars after this one, but bruh, it did drop in 4th because no upgrades, just a Sivir 1 and Irelia 1 weren't quite good enough. And oh, that is looking like a strong Zeri on the other board there. Challenger, Quicksilver, Giant Slayer. That is a Debonair fully itemized Kaisa 2 as well. These boards are getting real strong here for that capped endgame state.
Yeah, even the Draven at tier 1 going to be doing work there. Oh my goodness, Zeri. Zeri. Wow. Did you see? Oh, Zeri. That first ult, I think it was like 1.5 shots took down Sivir by like half health. That's a lot better than we were in previous timelines here on the Convergence. That Zeri doing some work. Really interested to see if any of our like 4 sniper comps might pop out now, because that Zeri was really impressive at that point. We also have a Selco from Arcane 2 gonna pop in. We're gonna move in the Jinx. We just saw 3 of them go back in to the bucket.
Yep. This is such a good comp. Like, this is about as good of a endgame board as you can expect. Even just like looking at these left synergies on the left of the screen, like 4 bodyguards are going to be really good versus that Draven. The 3 Debonair, and your Debonairs being Leona, Kaisa, and Zeri, a blue buff Jhin as well on top of that. And now the Jinx, even though it's not a Jinx 2, that Jinx upgrade, she was Zephyred. That's fine. You still have like multiple carries.
Yeah, I mean, it's like too much of a good thing at this point in time, right? Oh, beautiful Orianna ult as well. Zeri has now started to take that damage through, so much damage, and then increased attack speed too because of that Challenger emblem.
Oh,
this is going to be all Zeri most of the time, but Draven doesn't have to worry about missing the Zeri. Okay, world's tankiest Orianna, thanks to the bodyguard emblem.
Yep.
The Draven gets stuck on the Orianna, and we're going to go on to round 6-5 with the Zeri, I think, having the upper hand.
Definitely a little bit of a closer fight than I expected, but maybe that anti-heal for Justice League, I don't think they had anti-heal beforehand. It's going to help shore up this victory. Oh, it was a Braum 2, actually. That is why. All right. Braum 2 and anti-heal. Couldn't really ask for much more. I guess you could, and it's Jinx, and then you get that as well. So, yeah. All right. That's probably going to be a Drizzly win, but is there anything Haru Karamaki can do with positioning? I'm not sure there is.
I don't think there is much that you can do from this position either, because everyone's enabling each other right at this point. So the Kaisa enables the Zeri and vice versa. You've got the snipers as well. So you've got the Jhin along with the Zeri. Nice Zephyr though. So if positioning is going to matter, it's going to be in this particular round. But the Kaisa is able to ult so early, and then there's the Orianna ult that keeps her safe. So we get shielding twice on Kaisa, which usually is not something that you normally want to have, but is going to be fine this time around. But a nice Morello's would have been great for this, but we don't need it, as this should be it.
Yep, there it is. 1 unit more than needed to have alive to win. And Drizzly takes Lobby A with a fantastic late game legendary Debonair board. What a game. But now we get to take a look at Lobby B, Boop, and wow, it's Pikachu versus Pat Slay's Pizza in a top 2 situation.
Oh, triple P's. Alliteration everywhere on this board. We got a Bruiser Silco here, Renata carry. So this is something that you kind of have to fall into with the Bruisers, right? You just get a lot of front line, and then you get the right items, because a lot of those items can go on things like Malzahar and Talon, but we're going to use the Renata here. So usually by this point, the Renata isn't doing enough damage quick enough against things like Draven or a Sivir, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because we've got the Victor.
Yeah, this isn't even close. This Tahm Kench has probably been farming stats for such a long time. You get the Renata damage, you get the Victor damage. This is crazy. Farming items. Look at how many items are on this board, Boop. There's triple item Tahm Kench, almost triple item Vi, Renata, 2 items in the Victor. I can't even count that high. Caster math doesn't allow for us to count how many items on this board.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do 3+2 literally 2 minutes ago. So, I mean, I have no expectations for you at this point in time. But no, Shelly is going to have the Trap Claw too, which is a great late game item. Yeah. And it's going to help with CC. You can just put it on the Alawi since she's already stacking stats for those next to her. Very good friend. Probably very good Red Rover partner.
True.
As the Trap Claw should be going on the Alawi here, especially to keep that Victor safe. Oh, but we have the
salvage bin.
We salvage bin. I didn't look quite up there, but that is the right play, and we're gonna make it anyway. So I actually really, really like that because yeah, we made the same item, but sometimes it's just good to see your choices, right? And I think if we had someone that could hold a Thief's Gloves, we would have put it on.
Yeah, but this is going to be a little bit better. I think I did hazard to count. I think there's like 17 completed items. But there's a lot, so I could have missed some. But either way, going to what potentially could be the final round, Pikachu's board is so strong. Can Pat Slice Pizza do anything about it and snap the 14 loss streak? Potentially, if the Sivir survives with the Hodge healing, she could do it. The Victor cast comes through, but Sivir survives. Tahm Kench eats, but will it be enough damage? It is. And Pikachu is going to win Lobby B with 4 items left on the bench there because Tahm Kench just said, you know what, I'm going to farm them to you. If 17 complete items wasn't enough, why not 19? That was a crazy game move.
Yeah, both lobbies were a little surprising. I was shocked at how much Debonair we saw in that last lobby because it all started with Brand. I think 2 of the Debonair comps started with Brand, and we had another 2 go with Talon into the Zeri/Draven. So really intrigued. Zeri seems to be really strong right now, so that is definitely what popped out at me for that first lobby.
Yeah, those Zeris did get to a really capped endgame board. They had really good items. They did a lot of damage, obviously, especially with those buffs coming through. So already some pace setting for just game number 1. But let's go ahead and take a look at the scores. Remind ourselves where everybody is at. It was Drizzlessly who won lobby A with Haruka Maki, and then Yunyuki and Bruh following closely behind. And that's a really strong top 4, Boop. But yeah, lobby B, who we got to see at the end of that, had Glaceon going 8th and Zelendario going 7th, who I think we've seen do pretty well before, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, actually, I had a friend, I believe, in Zelendario's lobby during another tournament last week, and was a little surprised that we were where we were, if that makes sense. But we did a lot of climbing in the last week, and now we're here. But just a little bit of kind of history coming in here. We've been playing a lot, so this is something that, unfortunately, I think can be expected for a player that maybe has gotten onto the TFT grind train a little bit later, and we're playing a ton of games, and then a new patch hits, right? You usually start specializing in the patch that you climb on, and then when the new patch hits, stuff like this can happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is going to be game number 1 in the book, so we're going to have to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere because after this, we'll be bringing you game number 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom Still, Khroen, and Boop here to bring you all of this exciting TFT action. And game number one was exciting, Boop. We got to see a lot of new stuff, and always love seeing new comps pop out, especially on new patches like this, already players testing the waters, really seeing how far these units can go. It turns out Zeri can go very, very far, all the way to a first place. And in Lobby B, it was the Bruiser Renata and Tom Kench win, which is a comp that, personally, I was talking about, I know, a couple of weeks ago. I was like, oh, I kind of want to see Renata here. And now that Sivir is out of the meta and those shields aren't stopping Renata, now maybe she can shine a bit more.
I wouldn't go so far to say out of the meta. I mean, we saw a couple Sivir comps
the
there.
Hextech Sivir, rather.
But I do want to mention Sivir because last time I was here, there was a new patch, and it was the Sivir patch, I believe. And I remember we saw one game of it, and I could tell we were like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is all we're going to see.
But I have not gotten that feeling so far this time. So I think we're still going to see a good amount of diversity each lobby because of augment choices this time around.
Yep.
So the other thing about me and Khroen is we don't ever get to cast prismatic augments. I do not remember the last time we saw one. So I wonder if that's going to continue going through today. But at the end of the day, we've been seeing a ton of Debonaires, a little bit of Sivir. We saw that Renata absolutely destroy even after the Chemtech nerfs.
Yep.
Right. And the other thing I was saying about Renata is a lot of those items can go on other units like Malzahar, and the Hextech can go on something like a Talon that you just see earlier. Yep. Right. So it's good to be able to foresee the Bruiser branch that you could potentially go on, because I think that one's pretty easy to ignore.
Yeah, you just got me thinking about mentioning this Gunblade. Gunblade's in like a really good spot right now. It's able to work on so many different units, and I don't think there's really ever been a time, unless I'm forgetting, that there's been the viability of Gunblade on an assassin like there is for Talon right now, which I think is really healthy for the meta. You can slam Gunblade, have it work on a unit like Talon, but also go the direction of multiple other carries. Obviously, it's, you know, an AP-ish item, but it still works on like Ahri. It still works well on Malzahar. Brand as well as another one. So there's multiple uses for it. Just think the item's in a really good spot.
Yeah, it's in the best spot I think it's ever been in.
Yeah.
I mean, Hextech Gunblade for multiple sets was a memeable item.
Yeah.
There for a while. It didn't heal other people back in the day, it just gave you shield.
Sure.
Speaking of Hextech Gunblade, this augment first aid kit, very good with it. True Justice, when it's not bugged, is not as good, especially since you need the 3 enforcers now to really push all of the advantage for going enforcers. True Justice that early is just kind of risky. And so now we're going to have the healing of the Swain. So you see first aid, you think Hextech. That's usually how it goes, especially in the early part of the game.
Yep, especially already having a pair of Nocturnes, a Swain. Ooh, okay. Dropping the Nocturnes for, and the Jarvan actually, for this Sejuani. Interesting stuff. I didn't pay attention closely enough to see whether Pikachu would have guaranteed get gold here, but if they would, then I would say keeping those is definitely going to be a bit better. And yeah, they do get gold here. It is a misfortune though, so all of a sudden there's going to be the potential for Mercs on the table if a Quinn comes through here, but it doesn't.
Roll.
No.
Roll.
Don't roll,
do something dumb. No, so you know, there's always what the heart wants and what the brain knows what to do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna level up. So this is actually gonna give us an opportunity to get the Quinn next roll. At level 4, we're gonna have a little bit of a higher opportunity. We're not giving up the Mercenary Dream just yet. Morel's is a good item on her too. So we're not actually feeding for any type of power. This could potentially win a round. I don't know about this one, as we already have some crab parties happening. You know, it's funny. I feel like we talked about this earlier, like really early on in the set, but I want to remind everybody that crab was supposed to be Rammus.
Where's Rammus?
That's true. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's why the ability is like the Thornmail type of ability from League. It's because it was originally Rammus.
Yeah. More you know.
Yeah. It's good trivia.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's kind of your thing, right? TFT trivia with first or eighth.
Oh, true. Okay, so now we have I do host that
You
show,
do.
as we have a giant slayer now for this Ash if we want to put it on. Infinity Edge is usually the item you want the Ash to use. Usually Spetham, when we've seen Spetham, has played AP, at least almost every time I've watched Spetham play, it's been an AP angle. I think it was Ari during Challenger Series, and I think it was Lux last time we were here with Spetham for Fight Night. So definitely used to seeing him play AP, so it's cool to see the Ash right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you roll into an Ash 2, like we just saw, the game kind of plays itself, and you got to think about, hey, I should lean into this. But how far does Spetham lean into it? I think Ash, especially with the slight buffs that came through, you can think about re-rolling it from the spot, especially with an early game weak spot to buff that up. I actually do have a bit of information from the admins that Spetham played Caitlyn Caston reroll last game, which is not something I would ever have expected. We do know that Spetham also went 6th place, so it wasn't that great, but they did play it, so they're willing to try a lot of new things, and maybe now this Ash reroll composition is going to be on the radar as well for new things to try, at least for their playstyle.
Yeah, I think every set has the potential to have a Candyland type of comp, right? Which is tier 3 1 costs. In the past for this set, it's just been a part of the innovators with Camille and Singed and Twitch. Now we can actually try to see it in the sniper area, but with the Caitlyn being just tier 1 right now, that's the unit that you expect to be the tier 2, but because we have the compensation on the Ash, the Caitlyn might be able to take down a couple units, especially if we get to another ult. One more ult from Ash should be enough, and that is good. We get the win streak. We probably wanted to lose that, actually.
Yeah, losing would not have been bad. But this is also okay to start winning here if Spetham can guaranteed win the next couple of rounds. The problem is that it's not a guarantee by any means. Is picking second and is grabbing a best-in-slot item here, which is the glove. So having Ash now with the IE and then the extra bow on her is going to make this a lot more of a potential to be winning these rounds. The front line is good with the Darius too. What other unit can Spetham, though, put in to guarantee that win streak? Not quite sure. I'm moving over to Pat Slice Pizza, who has some common relaxing Genshin music going on in the background. Genshin Lo-Fi. You know, haven't heard that before. But hey, not surprising.
It's like someone made like a board of just like random words and was going to create a music channel out of it and laid it on Genshin Lo-Fi.
Hey, I love Lo-Fi myself, so I'm like Genshin.
I do too. I like Genshin has some great music.
That's
so,
true.
there are some creative people out there. I'm sure they can make it work.
Yeah, let's put us onto some new music. But yeah, what about the board?
Pat Slice Pizza right now. Playing a different mobile game this time with the strikers. So we already have 4 strikers. We have the double up on the Rek'Sai, which early on is actually great. Through stage 2, Rek'Sai is a great tank. And this should be enough damage as well.
Yep.
A lot of value from that Deathblade on the other side, by the way, from Yakutoba. But Pat Slice Pizza casually drinking out of the world's largest mug.
That is a large mug.
Listening to lo-fi Genshin. Dude, I already like this guy.
This is a whole vibe.
This is like, yeah, I know, right? The whole vibe is there. Like, I like this vibe.
Yeah, it's like, you know, wake up, you know, weekend morning, you get your big cup of like, you know, tea, coffee, whatever, turn on some lo-fi. You're just, that's a whole vibe. I'm into it. Play some TFT.
Home, right? You got some books in the background.
Yeah.
This guy
it's like
reads.
straight out of an anime.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I know, right? Robin Songs doesn't even read. Anyway.
I feel like most TFT players don't read. At least the competitive players. But
I'll never forget when everyone realized Janna healed the whole board. Anyway, Pat Slice Pizza. Now with this front line, should be okay. But this is a Caitlyn 2 now from Glaceon that's going to take down at least 1 unit. That's going to be the Enchanter augment as well, which is not usually something you see picked up early.
No, it is not. That Gnar also jumped right into the Caitlyn, but survived the snipe, actually. So, great job to Gnar. Gnar, as we talked about earlier, or you mentioned, still a really, really good item carrier, good mid-game transitional unit. That's why we see decently often these Gnars being itemized. We saw one last game. And a Striker Heart again. It kind of feels like we were watching this same board in Lobby A. Early Striker Heart, going to go into a Sivir Aurelia direction. gonna be pretty good. But Yakatopa, 3 innovators, 3 scrap, has a Blitzcrank on the bench, so that's gonna be 4 scrap. It seems like when that goes in.
Yeah, you could run an Irelia carry with the innovators if you
Yeah,
want.
you can.
When it was Flexivators, you could run it with a couple different things. My favorite version ever was I saw it with the Kha'Zix once. That was actually pretty good for that particular lobby. But we're running scraps now, and so shielding is apparently very, very strong right now, based on what we've been seeing.
Yep.
We've been seeing a lot of people picking up first aid as well. So this extra shielding from scrap should serve very well, especially that we already have 4 at 3-1. Like, this is a power level that can take you through this entire stage just by existing. When it comes to this 4 scrap, because we're going to get a ton of extra items too. So the power level is not just in the shielding, it's in the actual units as they get free items.
Let's see what items roll into. Oh, a perfect Banshee's Claw there. And that's why the Echo was positioned to the right of the Ziggs, in case there was an aura item like a Zeke's or a Banshee's. It came through. I always get like little like nerd chills and something like that happens.
That's why I Googled it. It's like, that is like your thing.
That is
right.
My
Everyone
thing.
has like their pet peeve when it comes to TFT. Mine is when people don't spend their money. Like they just keep 50 gold for too long. Yours is definitely the scrap / binary aura items. You say it every time.
Playing around what you could potentially get, because there's just different skills in TFT, right? A bunch of them, and that's one that I think really goes overlooked a lot too often. That could be the difference of winning and losing around. So it is nice to see. I like Yakatopa a lot now just because of that. Now moving over to Yixin, who's on a little bit of a struggle bus, playing that Corki, who was nerfed into this patch, but still really good items on him.
Yeah, I mean, this should be okay earlier on. I'm actually a little surprised. I wonder how long we've had these items for, because 62 is pretty low for that itemization for the Corki, but there's no second twin shot, so that's probably
true.
Where the issue is there. We also have a dead augment. So this is just not the comp we really wanted to run anyway. So we have the Scholar Augment with these items. Oh, this is Renata potentially.
It could be potentially a Renata. It could be an Ari. Okay, yeah, Yixin does buy the GP. I really believe that the Debonair is not too valuable right now, and that would have been a lot better served taking out the... oh, that was so close. Taking out the Talon, taking out the Brand, and going a couple of different units there. Now we have our second augment, Makeshift Celestial and Jeweled Lotus. Interesting. Jeweled Lotus, I think Yixin wanted before they slammed the Jeweled Gauntlet. So now that they get that, probably going to go either of the directions, looking like Makeshift. And there it is. Ooh, Syndra. I can give Scholar Heart value.
Yeah, and if we go the Debonair direction, we can keep that Syndra there as well. So we finally have an augment that we can use.
Yep.
5 rounds later. We are picking up the Enchanter. I think we're a little... We need to start using Google Maps or something, because I think we're a little lost right now. This is exactly why I got 8th in the last tournament that I walked into, was because there were just a lot of choices to make, and I think I made the wrong one each time. I do much poorer when I'm presented like 10 choices.
Yep.
Right, and and that's really hard for me to kind of filter through that kind of information. I think Yixin right now kind of going through the same process with what they're going to do, and that's just the risk of playing Yordles, right? You don't have that direction, and so if you're bad at finding one, right? I'm bad at directions and driving and in TFT. Then maybe that's not the kind of start that you should be going towards for something like this. But we are going to win this round. Potentially.
Looking like it,
yeah. We're going to win the round, yeah.
Going to win that round, even with the Ziggs rolling into a Morello's. Does get close. But Yixin maybe finally turn the streak around. If Yixin spends a lot of gold here, it even drops to 10 next round to level up to 7, put that Gangplank in, and guarantees that the next round, 2 rounds, or at least makes it a lot more likely that the next 2 rounds are victories, I would be feeling really, really good about Yixin's spot in this game. They're going a tier right now to, I would assume, probably just slam a Shiv, right? They picked Makeshift, so they're not really worrying about these frontline items. Their frontline is going to serve itself well with those resistances from the augment. And yeah, Yixin in a fine spot. as we move on over to Glaceon, who is also running some twin shots.
Yeah, and we have the Enchanter bonus. This Enchanter bonus is the attack speed one, right? Or is this just an extra?
It's not an extra. Yeah,
Enchanter.
I think it is the attack speed bonus.
Yeah, this is an augment that we don't really see all that often, but with twin shots, it makes a lot of sense, right? You get the internal kind of Yordle twin shot build with the help with this one, with Lulu. So we are going to get that extra attack speed, which might compensate for the fact that we're all tier 1. And it does seem like that's been really helpful so far, because we're at 76 HP and we saw arguably a better twin shot comp, right? With itemized Corki, much, much lower. So this is going a lot better than it probably feels like it should, as well as the fact that the Senna is going to give everyone attack speed there when it comes to that ult.
The thing is, going level 7 on 3-5, rolling down to 0, sure there's a lot of gold on the bench, but losing the round after feels pretty bad. That Ardent Sensor, which is that augment on the Enchanter one, does give the attack speed, but attack speed is not really going to be improving this board a whole ton right now. Maybe a bit later once these units pivot into what the end game, mid game board wants to be. Pair of Orianas, pair of Lucians, pair of GPs, a lot of pairs that Glaceon's working with, but nothing to make the board really, really strong. It is still going the direction of economy instead of board strength, putting Lulu in over that Gangplank.
Interesting. All right, 2 great items on Renata already. Renata 1, notoriously weak. Renata 2, though, hits like a truck. So, that's a great start. And that's the kind of thing about Renata is you're just, fingers crossed the second you kind of commit that you see the rest, right? Because a Renata 1 and Renata 2 difference is pretty massive. And so moving into this round, looking at the HP totals, pretty normal right now, almost exactly like the last lobby that we saw in terms of totals. And I'm just still really intrigued by this Ardent Sensor augment choice, because the Senna and the Oriana is really, really going to help. We won the last round, right? It is all through that augment right now. So definitely learning something here.
Yeah, and I think I made like a bit of a presumptuous, it looks like statement earlier of, that Lulu is just into farm economy. It's not. The Lulu buffing units does apply the Ardent Sensor, right? So it still is going to be board value in terms of augment power, right? Powering up your board.
Oh, we picked up the Sivir.
Yeah, that's going to be a really, really nice pivot point if they do go that direction. Moving over to Will Win. Maybe rolling down a decent amount. Has a Silco. Finds a Sivir. But seems a little slow in terms of the direction that they want to go and end up in. Maybe they think that with this amount of rolling, they're stabilized, but nothing really happened to make this board better. So I don't really think that is the direction. Oh, they want Jhin because they have a sniper emblem, right? Or is that Clockwork? No, that is Sniper.
That was Sniper.
So, Jhin, where are you at?
Hey, honey, where you be? So there was I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. There was a board game where you could call potential boyfriends back in the day, like on a phone that they gave you. I don't know why. Jhin would be amazing in that game. Imagine if you called Jhin, what he would say back. Anyway,
I mean, Jin's a little, just like a serial killer. Yeah. Jin's a little crazy.
I feel like you just hear
yeah, just some deep breathing. Say something like, "Death is the most beautiful art," or some edgy stuff like that.
Or he just counts to 4 the whole time.
Yeah, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. So these are good Sivir items. These are good Jhin items, like you said. A lot of times you want to see the 3 big damage items on Jhin, which is i.e. Last Whisper, Giant Slayer.
Yep.
We have 2 versions of that. We will most likely not get the last one, so we're going to put it on Sivir for now. Sivir without QSS can be scary because CC can absolutely ruin her life, as well as the fact that she's recently nerfed, so she's just not doing as much. That's why you're seeing a little bit more power putting in there, and I think that's part of the balance, moving the QSS potentially away from her, needing the extra power to get ripped through some of these comps. We don't survive that round because of Silco, but we do have 3 units that survive.
Yeah, I really do think that with 28 HP, even though this round is a win, I would have loved to seen a bit of a deeper roll down to hit a Jhin Oh, a Jace comes through, and that makes probably a 5 Innovator a lot easier to fit in. Maybe they're going to go away from this Innovator direction, though. It's kind of hard to say with what Will Wynn's kind of approaching here. Is a lot of it really seems like they don't know what their strongest board is at the time, and this could just be a Sniper Jin coming through. Or excuse me, Sniper Jace coming through, but no, okay, it's just going to be those 3 items on the Jace. Sniper left on the bench for now? Goes in the Zillion, but that's not really great value out of that emblem.
Not at all. I'm a little surprised why we didn't put it on the Jace. The Jace can use it really well. I would have probably dropped the Runins for it, but the Runins, it might win the round.
Yeah.
For our Jace right now, and it does.
Good.
So the Runins on the Jace is really good. You're trading extra damage in range with the Sniper emblem, but again, I like the IE Last Whisper Sniper emblem combo on a lot of people that usually do attack damage that don't get to carry. But Jace is going to be fine doing that. We do have another Jace on the board right now. Are we going to try for it?
Would be a huge high roll to try to go for this level to 8 and roll into a Jace 2. There's no guarantee that will happen. I think this is very risky, especially considering the fact that they could have made a lot of great items with this rod and vest that is already on the bench. But Will Wynn deciding, hey, they got to risk it for the biscuit here in game number 2. Can't say it's wrong, at least until they don't hit. And then you say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I love that saying, risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Thank you. I made it up. So,
I see.
I actually originated all sayings. But anyway, Tom Kench on the board right now. We do have that Braum 2. And this is a board that is waiting to be transitioned and pivoted right now. We're going to go ahead and put our tank items on a couple different people right now. We're going to put these easy on the bodyguard, so we get the double taunt off. There we have a Jace on this board, which is going to be keeping it off of Will Wynn's board. Wonder if we hit the Jace 2 there. Didn't quite notice that. Good Zephyr on this one. We have Cybernetics as well for Yakitopa, which is going to help with anyone who has an item. It's going to be Exiles and Snipers for XI.
Yeah, Sniper Heart, and the only other sniper is just an MF1. So again, another sniper board that doesn't have as much use out of that sniper augment or emblem as you would hope or expect. Not going to be a loss by too many units, but still Lindario's not in a comfortable spot here, especially because, as you mentioned, this board is definitely going through a very transitional phase. Now we get our final augment, and still no prismatics, unfortunately. Second win, Portal Forge, or weak spot. Looking like a weak spot angle here, and yes, that is what it will be.
Yeah, Portable Forge, if it was one of the first 2 augments, is probably the choice, but now that we're on the third one, the extra power you get from the Ornn item is half of what you might get value-wise if you got it earlier. So you're kind of risking a little bit of, for sure, power, maybe not even because of some of the choices that Portable Forge can give you. In Eternal Winter, for example, or Randuin's could have been good on the Braum, but at the end of the day, we're going to get a team-wide buff. We don't have a carry right now that could use that Portable Forge item anyway, maybe other than Jace. So I like this move.
Yeah, this Corki will be sold pretty soon after Raptors, I would assume. There's a couple players still very high HP in this lobby. Pat, Slice Pizza, and Yakatoba probably not running into each other for several rounds, as they are both above 80 HP. Looking at Glaceon's board, that's still going to be that Oriana utility Ardent Sensor kind of build. And it's a Sivir carry. And Sivir attacks with the Ardent Sensors actually enable her a lot with that Giant Slayer. The Hodge, not a great Sivir item, but good enough for this matchup at the very least.
Man, imagine if they got First Aid too. So
Boy,
if we got like
nuts.
Ardent Sensor and First Aid. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun if that's ever like a capability. No one would die.
Yeah, no, it'd be way too much.
Yeah, you'd play that Seraphine comp, right? Like literally nobody would die. That would be such a great a great comp, as we do now are switching into the Zeri. We're finally using that sniper emblem to our advantage. Kinda. We still need to get our 4th sniper in. We're moving some items over. We could put the runins on the Sivir, but we're really hoping for a good pull here from chickens. Oh, that's a good one.
Giant Slayer
That's a
potential.
Giant Slayer or Edge of Night.
There's still a couple loose items on the other side as well. There's a tier on the Echo, and Braum has the cloak. Don't really want to remake that though, so it might just be double gargoyles, Braum.
Huh.
Where's
past
Jin?
The Alistar 2?
Jin just doesn't exist.
I see you. I see you, Jen. No, so the unfortunate thing here is nothing happened that was good for XI, other than we got our snipers, right? Which we did the round before. Morello's probably going on Zeri. Ruden's going on the Jace along with the Giant Slayer, so we're not going to itemize the Sivir for now. The Jace is probably going to be doing a little bit more with those items. Honestly, I think the argument to put it on the Zeri is there as well because of how good it was before.
At least the Giant Slayer. I mean, it's still going to be fine on this Jace, though, but Slayer might get a bit more value on this.
Actually,
if
Zeri was itemized here, I think we would be talking about that potential a little bit more.
Yeah. Potentially. Oh, going to be around loss on that side. Looking at Pat Slice Pizza. 6 strikers. Again, this 6 striker Sivir build, you can't shut it down.
Well, you can nerf Sivir as much as possible, but that extra, raw AD, right? You can't nerf that.
Yeah.
Well, you can, just not in this patch. So you're compensating for the nerf by having 6 strikers, right? Yeah. So you're going to be A-okay. And it's the last Whisper angle once again. So this is the second time we're seeing this as the final carry. I believe this is best in slot right now and considered best in slot. The Shiv hasn't really appeared for anybody so far on this particular lobby.
What a board. So to allow Pat Slice Pizza to have this much HP, right? 69 HP on 5-2 with only a Sivir 1 only being on level 7. Sure, there's a tier 3 unit, but it's a Rek'Sai 3 with no items, so does that really count? I mean, not really. It's not that strong. 2 Zeeks, I guess. All the items are good. You could say they're perfect items for this board. But I'm still surprised that directly after the Sivir nerfs that were supposed to nerf this composition, it's able to be this dominant at this point in the game. With the Sivir 1.
I am shocked that we're seeing so much Sivir still. So, I think a lot of the patch was to push Sivir's power level down, and we just found a comp to bring it right back up, right? Yep. We dropped the Hex Tex, and we're just going to go the Striker direction because we don't need the shielding. The shielding that we have is enough at just the 2 right now, but the Vi is going to make this really hard. Now we're seeing the nerfs.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And this is where the nerfs good Renata board. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the difference of a board that is, 50 out of 56 XP to level 8, 50 gold, level 7, versus a board that is level 8, 0 gold, right? So maybe once Pat Slice Pizza rolls it all down, hits some units, gets another unit in, could be talking about it the other way. Not quite sure at that point who would really be better. Maybe it would be just a positioning diff. That Renata board was looking rather strong, as we unfortunately do have Glaceon going out in 8th, and I believe they were our Ardent Sensor player, but not enough value that came from it.
Okay, moving on over to Spetham, who is still rolling down with this Ashe. Ashe 3, i.e. Giant Slayer, Runins. Pretty good, not you're assuming. I think a lot of people assume Ashe needs Rage Blade. Pretty good on her, but now with the buff on her ultimate, I don't necessarily think you need the attack speed. The damage is kind of internalized in her kit a little bit better. Especially at tier 3 with Giant Slayer. There's some tanky comps too, so this Bruiser comp's going to have a little bit of a hard time with this. Oh, look, you ask, you shall receive. But First Aid on the other side is going to make it a little bit tough, especially with the Hextech Gunblade, all the shielding from things like Vi, for example. So, and that Zyra ult, like you said, huge. That's 2, and the Renata isn't able to tag the Ashe just yet. Remember, this is going to be a lot of AoE damage. Look at this Ashe rip through the rest of this comp here. I think the Ashe has it, but that last ult was actually pretty rough. So much damage, though. And that's at 5-5, so we're expecting tier 3 units at this point.
Yeah.
So
the fact that a backline focused board that doesn't move can win against a really strong bruiser Renata with a Shojin Zyra that gets multiple casts off is very telling of the power of these two units, right? Ashe and Jhin. They're still very, very good. Spent them on a 4 streak now, looking to secure this top 4 finish, and probably will in a round or two, because a lot of players are on single digit or near single digit HP. 1 life potentially for 4 players. Someone's getting eliminated here, I would assume. Who's it gonna
neither
be?
of these two. So yeah, 3 people are probably going to get eliminated based on the fact that we have this matchup, depending on whose ghost goes where. The Ashe once again going to get a nice spread of damage. This is very strong, folks. The positioning difference might be an issue here, but it's not. The Ashe once again does a ton of damage. I believe the Morgana, I think, was doing the tanking there, did a ton of tanking based on those stats. So,
3 eliminations.
What needs to happen for this Ashe to get taken out, right? We're having less brambles, so the IE is going to push through. Even though we had a bramble in that last round, it was still just enough raw AD damage from the Ashe to perform. And we get a Zephyr now, which is like best case scenario when it comes to dragon items.
Yeah, dragon items, Zephyr, and Shrouds, crazy. And yeah, Boop, 3 eliminations did happen. Yixen out in 7th, Pikachu in 6th, Lendario in 5th. We're at our top 4 already for players like Spetham. That feels really, really good, especially considering that they didn't have the best game number 1. And there's only 3 games until we go into the finals. Wow, Yakatopa, a player who I was impressed with earlier. Still in a good spot, but they have been on a 5-loss streak, but they were using that gold to push to level 9. Hopefully get stronger in that way, but all they really did was put 1 extra unit in. They didn't have any gold to like roll down for upgrades. Zillion too, but can't fit it in.
Yeah, so I was about to say the same thing, like a lot of gold for a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Right? You definitely want to see the Jinx 2 in this situation, or the Jace 2, especially if you're going to be spending money at level 9. We are on a 5-game loss streak, and we do have a loss, so we're going to get a good amount of money if we do lose out this round. The Sivir is going to be ignored by Kha'Zix, and that's going to be 19 HP, and that's going to be a top 3 already here at round 6-2.
Yep. Will win, I believe, a sniper player. Going to be out in a 4th. Yakatoba gets to roll 1 more Jinx for a pair. It sells the Jhin. I mean, depending on if we roll into Jinx, can consider selling the board. Wow, already selling the board, actually, preemptively. Just for the gold to roll to have a chance at this Jinx too. And the items do move over to a Braum 2. I kind of like that. The Morgana wasn't serving a huge purpose, and now we get the Innovator Crab in. We get 1 Socialite. Aurelia gets Zephyred, but really, all eyes on the Jinx, how much damage it can do. Leaps into the skies. Comes down, and can you take out the Ashe? I mean, it's just Ashe versus the world, and yes, Yakatopa survives.
And Spetham also survives with that 1 HP. So 2 people, 1 HP. They might both get eliminated on this next round. It's going to be Ashe versus the Strikers. Who will reign supreme, Khroen? I like this Shroud on the Sir Thomas in the front line. We got some good front lines just in general for this. We have double Zeeks on the Sivir. You actually have started to see a lot of people put the Zeeks on Irelia recently. To just get a little bit more tankiness and attack speed on her. We're going to be moving that around. Oh, there is a Blitzcrank there, but we do already have that QSS, so we're just going to be eating that up.
Might hit Hook the Vibe.
Yeah, there it is.
I was farther away. Quicksilver still, though, going to be really good versus that Frozenheart Echo. The Tom Kent Shroud did not hit a single unit, but it's fine. It doesn't need to. The power of 6 Strikers Sivir is still very, very much real. Irelia doing solid damage as well. And Yakatoba takes out Spetham on the other matchup. So it is going to be a top 2 situation here, and Pat Slice, why not get another Shroud?
Or a third Zeke's.
Or
You
for
could do either
Bruiser?
or.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
a third
okay.
Zeke's.
It's like a grab bag at that point, right?
Yeah.
Literally everything seems like it's going to help. So we're going to have 3 Zeeks for our strikers right now. And that's a lot of attack speed. And that's going to compensate even more than the 6 strikers. So you've already compensated for the damage mitigation from the buff, from the nerf on the Sivir. But now you also have more attacks. So you're attacking with a higher base damage more often and more frequently. So this might not be a loss on this next round for Pat Slice Pizza because of just the amount of enabling we have on the Sivir right now.
Yeah, I would love to see the Tom Kench swap over the last second. It didn't happen, so the Shroud doesn't hit a great clump of units, but the Sivir is still going to town. Frozen Heart, again, not stopping her, even with the Jinx landing. It is not going to nearly be enough as Pat Slice Pizza takes Lobby B in, quite frankly, a dominant fashion.
3 Zeeks in a Sivir. That's sometimes in a movie, and then sometimes that's all you need. 35 HP. We got a top 3 right now. It's a twin shot build this time around. AZL going to be running those twin shots. It's going to be the Gangplank 3. We saw this absolutely like murder itself the last time we saw this comp into 5th place, I believe. So already doing a lot better than the last twin shot comp that we saw.
And this twin shot comp, it has 5 twin shot. It has fully upgraded frontline bodyguards with fantastic items, and a Jinx 2 on top of that. So this 11 win streak, I think, might be going to be like a 13 win streak, and then the game is going to be over. That's my guess right now, but I don't see everything what's happening on the other sides of the board. There is a Sivir with a Hodge and a Rage Blade, a Striker Jace, but yeah, not quite good enough, Boop.
Ugh. All right. 2 people on fire. Foam Gang's getting a little hot in that fire sandwich right now. That's probably not fun to look at when you're trying to compete for the lobby win this late in the game.
No.
But one of these streaks will be ending here shortly. We'll probably get a winner by 7-1, but we'll see if Brababra is able to walk this thing back. Assassin Spat for AZL, so that's going to be for the twin shots to go along with the Echo.
Yep, Echo getting an assassin buff. He doesn't have any items, but maybe this wasn't the best. Enabling a 0 item Corki and 0 item Echo, but hey, why not win with style points? Why not win with more synergies on the left hand side there? Why not get an Orianna 2 upgrade as well to try to seal the deal? It'd be AZL versus Bruh, who is on a win streak themselves, but hey, we saw the last Ghost round matchup and a dominantly win over at AZL, and I think that's going to be the same exact story this time around, Boop.
Strikers once again for the other side. AZL, twin shot versus Strikers. Last time we saw this, it was the Strikers that were able to get it. Gangplank gets taken down immediately. Very quick Jinx ult, though. Good positioning. It's going to hit the Sivir here in just a second. Oh my goodness, we finally get to see the Jinx in action. And the Sivir does fall. We have a top 2. Oh, no, we have a top 1. Jinx is going to win the whole lobby.
There you go. Twin shot. Jinx wins. Even while, I mean, frankly, griefing the Gangplank positioning, it should never get GP hooked, or excuse me, Blitzcrank hooked at that point for the GP. Still, it doesn't matter. The Jinx was way too strong. It was Jinx 2. Perfect items. And AZL does take that lobby. And Boop, I think we have seen over the past 2 games a different comp win every single time. In game 1, it was the Zeri Kaisa Debonair board.
Yeah, and
then Bruiser Renata. And this time around, it was Sivir and then twin shots. So a ton of diversity already showing up. And I think that leans into the point you were bringing up earlier, Boop, about how you did not get the vibe that's going to be one of those, oh, it's like a Sivir week and that's all we're going to see type beat. Like it's completely open, right? There's so much, I think, potential in what can be good and what can be playable.
Like, I think literally after seeing 1 round of Sivir last time, the both of us knew what was coming. And again, this wasn't the case because even the Sivirs that won were highly enabled, right? They needed 6 strikers, multiple Zeeks. For example. I mean, it's definitely a top 4 comp still without all of that, but if you really want to push the Sivir win, I think you got to hit those 6 strikers.
Definitely looks like it, and when we've seen that happen, it has been very, very strong. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scores after those two games. AZL, of course, winning Lobby A, and Pat Slice Pizza in Lobby B. But there's still a lot of catching up for some of the players as well. I think Glaceon has had back-to-back eighths, unfortunately, so not even sure if it's possible for them to get into the final lobby at this point, because there's just one more game to go, Boop. But this is the point where we get to decide what lobby we want to watch. And as we take a look at this overall scoreboard, does any lobby stand out to you?
I want to watch Yakatopa's lobby again.
I agree. Yagatopa is in lobby B, so lobby B also has players that are kind of on that bubble, right? Spetham at 10 points will win with 12, Pikachu at 13, and it's not even a guarantee for Yakatopa either, I don't think, to make it into the finals. They have had two really good games, a third and a second, but if they do bottom out, then maybe it gets a bit dicey. Not quite sure there, but still looking pretty solid. The only person that I think is pretty guaranteed is Pat Slice Pizza, with a second place and then a first place. Really, really, really good opener to the day. I'm really excited to see how they can kind of navigate these finals, especially because we know the finals get real, real crazy.
And Pat Slice Pizza had a pretty crazy last run there. He was pretty much in charge of that lobby the entire time, ending that lobby on fire at, I think, over 30 HP. So really good work from Pat Slice, who we were talking about. I think it was the first person we were watching talking about playing really cleanly in that early game. So, you know, one of the hardest things is to take a good early game and transition it into a lobby win, right? And we were able to see that from Pat Slice. So really good stuff there. But going into this kind of like all or nothing type of situation, we're probably going to be seeing some mercenaries if someone gets it, you know, gets that gangplank or misfortune in that orb. It's time to play at that first or eighth for some of our players, especially if you are on the bottom side of the leaderboard right now. Because like you said, mathematically, almost everyone could still make it into this last lobby.
Yeah, if you have a pop-off game, that's all you need. Like you mentioned, what better to have a pop-off game than with mercenaries? So this is the perfect time to start talking about it. There was actually, I was watching, I believe it was Goobum's stream earlier, actually, funnily enough, you referenced Goobums, but Mortdog was in the chat, and Goobums, had some words about mercenaries and, them being really, really strong in these specific situations. And even Mort said, mercenaries on ladder, maybe like, they actually tend to do bad, but in tournaments, yes, they do perform very well. That is the exception. Players are less willing to go out of their way to punish Merc players because it's at the sacrifice of their own scores, and they can just have kind of free reign on the lobby, get a really nice cash out, and be almost guaranteed, or what feels like guaranteed, for first place if you are a strong Merc player.
Sometimes you get stuck in Merc jail, and that's the worst case scenario, but a lot less people get stuck in Merc jail than anyone ever got out of Fortune jail, for example.
Yeah.
Right? I think we saw a lot more people fall into 7th and 8th place playing Fortunes than we ever did really playing Mercs. I mean, we saw someone like Yippee Malkaye play a couple different kinds of mercenaries not too long ago. I think cashed out 3 separate times once and was still a top 4. in that particular lobby. So, there's still different ways to go about it, but in a tournament situation, when the variables of knowing the players, right, in your lobby, mercenaries does become a little bit easier in a situation like this. As stored power, clockwork, underdogs. Underdogs is probably the snap pick there, as it is going to be the snap pick for Pat Slice. That Hex Tech augment feels like it's fun. Right, but 1 AP is not that much, and you're only getting like 2 or 3 a round. So you'll get like an item's worth after like 2 stages. It's just not worth it.
It is not great. I think Cho'Gath was buffed a little bit in this patch, and Underdogs, obviously with Cho'Gath, is going to constantly proc, be pretty valuable there. Didn't get a chance to see what the mutant was. Not quite sure. Synaptic obviously is one of the best mutants, and it still wasn't touched, I don't believe. So being able to run that, have good Malzahar items later on can be a lobby-winning kind of composition. As Pat gets a cloak. Not the best item opener here, that's for sure.
No. The cloak is, I mean, it's one of those items that you'll find use for, right? It's going to be a QSS most likely, or like a Bloodthirster if it finds itself on a Draven. But early on, you don't quite need it. It is. I like putting it on some of our tankier frontline units. I like putting the QSS on things like Vex for dodge.
Yep.
But not necessary right now. So we're just going to go ahead and use those underdogs and keep our items on the bench.
Items on the bench is fine. A pair
There's
of
that
Rex
Merc.
size. There's a lot of pairs actually. And yeah, Merc Heart. No mercs besides that though, right? So that's a dead augment for now at least.
Ziggs too, though.
Yep.
That.
Ziggs too. Some scrap value. Not the worst.
No, not at all. What is the? Did you catch the mutant buff by chance?
No,
Khroen?
not
Okay.
sure what it is at this point, but we'll have some context clues a bit later on if someone does actually play the mutants. We can process elimination it.
Oh, the Cassidon did pop up, so we'll just check it out in just a second. And this is a pretty nice early game board. Lucian, very, very strong in the early game as a tier 1 unit. We're going to put Scraps in instead. I actually like having the tankier front line.
Yeah,
Maybe we're just
better.
playing around with the lobby in case they scout us out.
Yeah, I actually like that. A lot of high-level players will do that. They'll just like put the units in and be like, I can assess it because I see like right in front of me. Does this look stronger? No, this looks weaker. So I'm gonna put what I originally had back on the board. Might as well do that if you're not sacrificing, time to do things like scouting. And the 4 scrap really wouldn't be value because all the items are dedicated to the Lucian right now, and Lucian is the one unit who isn't a scrap. So I like this route. Going up against Pikachu, who has a Shojin Slam on a Cassidon. I want to say it's the first time I have actually ever seen that happen.
Oh, I wonder where it's coming from. We do have an Arcanist heart,
Yep.
so that potentially might be going a totally different direction a little bit later on. So the Shojin's most likely going to be landing on a caster, as the Illaoi making it into the comp as a tier 2 unit to help with the bruisers. And now we have twin shot. So now our comp has gotten stronger. We probably win that last round with this particular comp and extra ults from Lucian. We also have a little bit better of a front line with the Illaoi. Not that much better, because I like Sejuani as a frontliner, but as of right now, stats-wise, this Illaoi is going to be a better pick.
Like this Sejuani is definitely better, and it gives Bruiser. It also gives Hex Tech. There's no way that Blitz over Sejuani is better. But maybe Yakutova realizes that, and maybe because they lost last round, they want to go on a bit of a loss streak. Not going to be the case here, I wouldn't imagine, just because they are going up against Pat Slice, who is rather weak right now, even with the underdogs. I mean, I say that too soon, actually. Underdog's value is pretty big here, and wow, yeah, the Shogat gets the eat off, and
it's Dark Star. Okay,
yeah.
So this is not over.
Wait a minute.
Corky?
Okay. Well, I was right. I should have believed in my original original thought of how that fight was going to go down, but I didn't. Akutoba wins, so win, loss, win. Not exactly where you want to be.
No, not at all. You want some type of not pattern. This is
you don't want the pattern
now. What I mean by that is you want all of one direction,
yes.
right? Like you have Harry, you have Niall, you have sorry, you have Zane. No, but and Lewis. But what I mean by that is you want to do all loss streak or all win streak. Usually the thing that you do before this carousel round is kind of what you want to take into your PvE round, because then you can kind of take a streak into the next stage if you like. But going alternating is really frustrating because you want to start that economy going and it just feels like you're in traffic.
You know what else is frustrating, Boop? Picking Mercart and not finding mercs.
Yes, Betham seems to be moderately frustrated by it. And at this point, do you even play mercs?
I don't know. You almost feel trapped into having to, regardless if it's like quote unquote correct or not. You never want an augment that is dead from as soon as you pick it until the end of the game. that just like you take psychic damage at that point. It feels like you don't want to be in that situation. So I feel like
What
Spetham,
a weird spot to be in for Spetham, especially
yeah,
since he is destroying Pikachu right
yeah.
now in this team comp. So, we don't need an augment at this point because the rest of the comps aren't that strong, right? So we're going to go ahead and win while we can. And maybe if we do lock in Mercs a little bit later, we'll have the HP to lose. But I think there is an
Oh,
argument to
Quinn.
say, there it is, to just not play it anymore because it's just too late. But we're going to get it done. Stage 2-6. It's about 3 rounds too late, in my opinion, if we do run it.
Is Spetham gonna run it?
This is a tough spot. I get both decisions here, if that makes sense. I think you could make a good argument for both choices.
Both choice on the table. Spetham chooses to not play it. All right. Dead
Taking
augment.
risk out.
Mm-hmm. Thinking that this board is strong enough to win. And I think that is an accurate assessment. It is strong. There is 4 Scrap, 3 Innovators. That is one of the strongest early game boards you can have, especially with Scrap Ezreal online and a Frozen Heart already on the Echo. There's just everything. The formula has been completed to what you need for a strong early game. And with that, Spetham's going to 2-streak. Well, actually, no, it's going to 2-streak. There's no way this wins.
Yeah,
there's no way. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
A little dicey. The thrill was pretty good there for the GP.
Yeah, the GP actually doing something. The GPs that we've seen so far today have been a little lackluster. I'm sure they've been farming on the rounds before we start hanging around on the board, but that hasn't been the case when we watch. But we have a GP on this board as well. We just saw Pikachu lose that last round. We still have the Shojins on the Kassadin just for the Scholar buff right now.
Our buff online, a couple Arcanists. This Kassadin Shojin was good, it seems like, for the first few rounds, but has fallen off pretty quickly after that. Not great. A couple of bows, a cloak, and a vest is not the best. Unless we want to go into it in AD direction, which I think is still potentially on the... Oh, actually, never mind, because Arcanist Heart there, you're not going to go that. Unless there's, like, Arcanist Twin Shot, right? That could make use out of all of this kind of stuff.
Huh. Okay, so we're just going to be investing in our front line now. These are both items that can go on a couple different people in the late game, so we don't necessarily need any direction to build something like a Gargoyle Stone Plate. We do with Shojins usually, so still curious where that's going to end up near the end of the lobby. But in the early game part of this lobby, Kassadin's so good. And not only is he going to be shielding himself up, he's going to be able to tank a little bit of extra damage you're seeing here from the Swain because the ult actually makes them do less damage to Kassadin specifically. And this is a 3v1 right now. Syndicates should be able to do their work. The Zyra and the Darius and Winman will lose out this round.
Pikachu winning out, and Pikachu looks like they spent some early gold aggressively leveling, which is why they only need to spend 8 gold next round to go to level 6. Moving over to Glaceon. Glaceon's had a rough day. Double 8th, so this is kind of more of a spoiler than anything.
My favorite.
I know. You're probably rooting for Glaceon here.
I mean, like, playing spoiler is the way you keep yourself in the game when you feel like you've been eliminated already.
Keep your sanity.
Right? Like, exactly. Like, you still get to cause impact, right? It's going to be emotional impact for the people that you cause it for. Unfortunately, not impact in the lobby, but 37 gold. That's a very interesting spot to be in here for 3-2. Usually, you're seeing people either... That's actually a lot of gold here for level 6. So we also have a mutant spat. We know that that's synaptic. So, not synaptic, that is a dark star.
Yeah, voracious appetite.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
Did a decent amount, but that Sivir that Glaceon rolled into is very good at this point in the game.
Sure is.
And it's gonna be a Sivir without.
Pop up here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Sivir without a defensive item. Instead of that Quicksilver, it's going to be a Giant Slayer. I think Glaceon, with the Bow Slam already, is going to just say that is going to be Last Whisper and literally nothing else. Because that's how that Sivir Striker build kind of functions, right? So you said best in slot build does contain Rage Blade and Last Whisper.
This is an interesting augment choice, though.
It is.
Disintegrator works for 1 unit on this board, and that's the Sivir, but that's your carry, so it might be worth it. Yep. We also have another augment to go, item grab bag. You would have loved if that bow wasn't on Sivir, right? I'd probably go Disintegrator. Disintegrator is the choice.
Yep.
It's a little bit of extra damage for the front line, but you're just, again, the point of Sivir is to enable, right? Sivir is the closest thing we have to Kale from previous sets, in my opinion, or like a Philios, where you just you enable and put all that power into the Sivir with the Zeeks, with the damage, with things like QSS. But CC is every carry's worst nightmare, and it's going to be an issue here for the Sivir.
Cool. If that Blitzcrank was positioned a couple spots to the right, that Sivir would have been grabbed, but not the world we're living in, and Glaceon does not get punished, at least quite yet. Still, the Echo Frozen Heart is going to make it a lot harder for that Sivir to carry.
Yep.
And she might end up falling here.
It's going to be Ziggs.
Wow.
With the Bloodthirster. Oh my goodness.
Ziggs diff.
VT diff on the Ziggs. That was hilarious. Spetham with his non-Merc board is on fire right now. Spetham picked Merc-Heart as the first augment. Hasn't played a single Merc unit, I believe, as Glaceon now using that Disintegrator with that Sivir right now. And something else I wanted to talk about is the QSS wasn't all about just Blitzcrank hooks, the lobby that we saw Sivir won. It was the Frozen Heart it didn't get affected by, and we saw the difference there. Even just the Frozen Heart was enough to take down that damage by like 20% almost.
Yeah. Very, very important with the amount of Frozen Heart echoes and Frozen Hearts that are running around. Kind of crazy. Moving back over to Will Win. This GP we've seen do some good work earlier, but now that it's still a GP1 and towards the end of stage 3, it is going to do a lot less work. And that's kind of why we see Will Win at 7th place currently in HP, 68. It's kind of got the potential matchups. One of them is going to be that Mutant board. They're running 4 Hextech, 3 Twin Shots. Not a terrible board to have, but again, definitely not a guaranteed win. The saving grace is that Will Win has a fair amount of economy, and will be able to have a very nice, I think, 4-1 roll down.
Did you just call him Lil Win? I think you...
Maybe I did.
I think you did.
Lil Win.
Yeah, we got a Lil Win here doing a little bit of losing. Instead, 58 HP. Yeah, a little loss there. 58 HP along with Glaceon, who did win that last round. RFC scrap roll on the Irelia with help from the Ezreal, and Spetham maintains his win streak. What a weird lobby, Khroen.
It definitely is. This doesn't happen every day, especially. There's multiple dynamics that happen here. Like, Spetham should be a lot stronger. If they had any other augment that did remotely anything for their board, they might be at 100 HP win streaking right now. They might have, like, 4-0'd or 5-0'd boards instead of like 1-0 or 2-0ing them. It would have completely changed the dynamic, especially with these other players who are kind of scrambling to stabilize, but they maybe have a bit more time to do so at this point. Meditation was the second augment choice for the Mutant board. And for Will Win, not Lil Win, it is going to be now the Thrill of the Hunt. Or now the weak spot to pair with the Thrill of the Hunt. And GP's doing a fair bit of work.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt, 2 extra gold. Cinematic, though, with Malzahar. This is where Malzahar shines, and we shine once again as the Darkstar Malzahar is going to be doing all that damage. Malzahar is always the last mutant alive, and when it comes to this particular mutant buff, Malzahar is very, very good at using it. So it's one of the only mutants that actually stays in the back line. So of course, you're going to be enabling the unit that is going to be alive longest for the mutant buff that rewards staying alive.
I wonder... Staying alive. I wonder if this is going to be a reroll on level 7 for Will, or if they're just going to roll it down for Perhaps Irelia and Sivir, that kind of striker board. The augments are great for that pivot. But hey, we've seen reroll twin shots do very, very well in the past, and it could be the same situation. Especially sitting on a pair of Gangplanks and a pair of Lucians, but we'll tune into that a bit later as we see Lendario rolling down with the swiftness, trying to find an AP board to land on.
Yeah, does not want a Misfortune 3, that is for sure. But we have Rabadon's Death Cap, which is going to be nice for our AP board. We'll most likely go on the Ahri or Rageblade. Some people like the Rageblade on the Ahri, but we're going to go on the damage instead. Hopefully we're able to sell the brand a little bit later, get the blue buff on her as well.
Yep. This brand is still a solid carry at the beginning of stage 4. It's going to get completely smacked up by some boards. And with Will Win getting a Lucian 2 and actually a GP2 upgrade, this fight might go that direction. If GP can get another ult off, no, does not. So the brand... This is close.
Oh, it's going to be really close. He's going to dodge right before the ult. Oh! All right, so the 2v1 goes Lucian's way. The ult probably wasn't going to matter anyway from the Ahri. We do have 30 gold at least. Ooh. We're going to get a second Ahri. That's really nice.
Love that.
We're also still printing some money.
Printing money, printing Yordles, potentially printing Vexes in the future, getting us close to Vex 3, which this composition does love to feature a Vex 3 in the front line. It's going to buy so much time for units like the Ahri, eventually Victor to get multiple casts off and actually carry the round. Lendario, 67 HP, in a good spot, has good front line. All they need to do is translate this into good positioning and round wins.
That's all. All they need to do is win.
I'll just win.
Yeah, just win. But we have the brand in a little bit of a precarious situation. The Ziggs actually isn't able to get that damage on him because of some of the shielding. The brand, though, especially the fact that it's going to be CCing some of that front line, is enabling some of that front line to start breaking through. It's a little bit of a death by 1,000 paper cuts until the fireball comes through. But now it's going to be Ahri versus the world, and Ahri loses that a lot of the time. But Ahri can win against any comp. That's the other thing about Ahri, right? It really just depends on where her eyes are during those ults.
Yep, Ahri has probably some of the worst tunnel vision you could see in a TFT unit. Jhin maybe sometimes has the second worst, depending on if a unit jumps to the back line, griefs him. But Ahri positioning, Ahri targeting can win a round or lose a round very decisively. Wow, that's already Mutant Victor over there on Pat Slice Pizza's board.
That's unfortunately, this version of the Mutant Victor is one of the more frustrating ones because it's going to feel really good during the later part of the game if we're going to get that second ult. But the first ult not really going to benefit a ton from it. We do need that ult to come out right about now.
Right about now.
It's probably going to break through every single person.
Yep.
There it is, and that's why, right? You're going to be trading off some early game damage with like the mana generation that you're missing out on right now for the Darkstar buff. Because again, you're one of the only backliners in that comp. You're going to be hanging out with Malzahar until hopefully the end of the round.
Victor also a part of these changes coming into this patch. Nerfed his max mana by 5, I believe, to 145 now. But it does buy time for the mutants to die off, and by the time Victor actually gets that cast off, it's going to be that empowered cast from, just that mutant buff. So I like that thought process. Now it is just on Pat Slice to level up to 8, find a Kaisa, and have a 7 mutant online. That would be extremely strong for, again, that same Victor logic.
Victor logic, one of his favorite things. We have a Zeri, too, that we could pop up here. We have 6 scraps on this board. So Yakatopa is the second time we've seen a heavy scrap board coming through. We're going to sell the sword off. We already had a second Zeri. It's probably going to be hard to fit it into the comp anyway. 6 scrap is a ton of shielding. Look at the shielding, even with just these amount of components. It's not half of everyone. Look at Ezreal's shield, right? More shielding than health there.
Yep.
So we also want good itemization to start here too, because you could get a little clogged up with 6 scrap. And it doesn't seem like it's really mattering all that much because I'm sorry for everyone for that sound, but the Sever did really good work there. I'm a little surprised that I was able to break through all that shielding so well.
Yeah, I think Akatoba did place the sword on the Irelia a little bit too slow, so it didn't actually get a scrap item. Oh, binary with 6 scrap? I mean, that has to be the pickup here. Yeah, there it
That's
is.
the dream.
Oh, remaking this Vi? I mean, you have to remake it, right?
You have to. You have to. It's only tier 1 anyway.
Yes, you don't. I mean, tier 2 Vi of these items will do very nicely, but
Make a play. Make a play. That's what I say. And that's what
Yep.
you did. I love it.
I like it too. I like it too.
I think a lot of people in TFT get frozen in their choice there, and they go with what's normal, right? Like Spetham, like you said, it'd be weird not to play Merc because you picked it, but we're at 94 HP and we're probably on top 4, right? So I think sometimes it's really hard to kind of color outside the lines as a TFT player, if you will.
Yeah, that's true.
And we just saw that, right? We could have gotten a stable Vi in the front line, but we're going to get 3 completed items, which is going to increase our shielding from scrap 6, as well as Irelia getting a completed item from that component, and we're about to get more components on this next round.
The worry is that they need unit upgrades, because when you go against these kind of boards, right on the other side by Spetham, Sivir 2, Irelia 2, that power is going to be too much to deal with, and will a Vi 1 really be able to do it? This Irelia RNG'd into a RFC, not going to be nearly powerful enough. They really just ignores her. Oh, he goes back to finish her off. Okay.
Also, the fact that we got an Irelia 2 and a Sivir 2 at 4-6, and we weren't running Mercs is pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
so
Spetham high rolled after Giga low rolling.
If we get to talk to Spetham at some point, at any point in the future, we ask him about this game.
Oh yeah,
but
sure, 100%.
36 HP now. We're in striking distance of that top 4. Everyone looking up at Spetham, who has almost a 50 HP lead over second place right now.
Kind of crazy. They are still level 7, so they didn't push 8. They got kind of lucky on their level 7 rolls. But hey, that's what happens to TFT sometimes. Akatoba does not have a lot of gold, and really needs to have a lot of gold to hit these upgrades. Sivir seems like she's still so contested. People are figuring out, if they haven't already, that hey, Sivir is still good. Not the Hex Tech version, but again, the Striker version. Glaceon's running it. 32 HP as a pair of Sivirs, but there's already a bunch of Sivirs taken out of the pool. Glaceon is now taking Akatoba's units out of the pool as well. It's really just a dog-eat-dog world here in terms of all these Sivir players.
All right, a lot of Sivir players. Still, even while targeting those buffs, the Ahri is going to be the direction we're going for our opponent. It's going to be the blue buff that I think moved off of the brand. The Silco is going to be helping our mana very, very well. And this is the difference, right, between an Ahri that is Ahri2 with itemization versus the one that we saw earlier. So very, very strong AP comp, both Rabadon's death caps. That is 6 large rods that we're seeing on those 2 characters right now.
That is a lot of rods.
Would you say a large amount?
It's a large amount of large rods, yes. Needlessly large amount of large rods.
Why are they that big? Anyway, Glaceon,
who made them
last
that way?
place, unfortunately.
I need answers.
Exactly. I need answers to all of life's questions, right? Like, why thinking about exercise isn't good enough?
I know, right? Why do you have to actually do the exercise? That's
so messed up, right? I need a new patch. Anyway, really, really good Shroud on this board. We have the Rageblade Giant Slayer, no CC coming onto the Sivir, who's not even going to be huffing some of that gas when it comes to that Renata, who is Renata too, but it looks like it might be enough here with the Hextech Gunblade.
Yep.
Silco.
Yeah, Silco's doing a bit of a not griefing, fortunately, for Pikachu. Unfortunately for Glaceon, might be taking the coveted 888. Yeah, I hate to see it.
We should have an award for that.
Sounds toxic.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, what's the problem? I see no issue here.
No, you can't reward last place like that. That people will just do it.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually the human mind is crazy.
Oh, Kaisa.
Like, oh, 7 mutants. Here it is. So this Victor does not need to be tier 2 to do tier 2 damage at this point in time, especially with the Giant Slayer. However, it is going to take a long time to get to a second ultimate because we do not have a mana item and we just got shrouded.
Yeah, a long time with the first ultimate.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here. Thank goodness we had the Trap Claw because the Blitzcrank did hit our Victor, which should help us a little bit with our mana. But we are about 5,000 miles away from this Victor ult. Are we even going to get to one? Shroud's so good against it. We don't even need it. Didn't even ult one time. I was staring right at that Victor the entire time, waiting for it to ult. But little did I know, it was completely unnecessary. Literally completely unnecessary.
What a crazy fight when you don't even need what I would say. Okay, I'll say it's the second most powerful unit on the board. You don't even need it at all. It just auto attacked. That's all. That's all it did.
It, buttered up some of the units so they can
the
be
Gnar.
taken down.
That's it.
By the Kaisa and the Malzahar. Second Kaisa on the carousel. I wonder if Pat Slice is going to go for it. Last time we saw someone go after a 5-cost unit, I believe it did not go well for them.
No.
QSS is going to be the choice with Pat Slice winning the initial race for the Ari, but there's 2 of them, so XI is feeling okay about that.
Yeah, the Kaisa, if it had a better item, if it had like Morello or something maybe, but Kaisa with the IE, it's probably one of the most useless items on her, unless she has that IE Jewel Gauntlet combo, and even then, that's not really a preferred Kaisa build in a lot of situations. Getting a lot of pairs. Pair of Kha'Zix, pair of Kassadins. Pat Slice is going for a Cho'Gath 3, which honestly, I'm of the opinion that unless you're specifically going for that auto attack focused Cho'Gath like carry build, Cho'Gath 3 is pretty fake and you almost never need it. But I just think that usually that gold can be utilized for more upgrades that are beneficial. So it goes.
Glaceon getting that 8th place, unfortunately. What a swap in performance there, right? Glaceon was one of our returning players from last week, so that is at least one elimination from last week. Maybe Jirachi is the difference there for Glaceon. Oh, we get an ult this time, and is it enough? It is. Oh man, the Zeri, if it was VIP, it probably would have been okay there, but that's how strong that Shroud we saw earlier was. Right? It didn't get that ult off, but the team comp around it wasn't enough. And we do have our tier 2 Vi now. Great items on that Vi. We've seen a lot more IEs, so the Bramble's a good choice as well. We have an okay role actually pretty good role for the Zac. The Zeke's is going to be really good for the Victor and the Renata here.
Yeah.
And we got 3 Enforcer, which is kind of like a new thing.
That is true. 3 Enforcer with that emblem on the Silco. Wow, this is going to be another twin shot based composition. 1 Gangplank away from GP3. Is that going to be the difference though? Renata, if she's able to stay alive. No, looks like she falls here.
Oh.
Can Vi do enough? I mean, this is a really good Vi build, but...
Oh!
Not... Oh, wait a minute.
It might be.
No.
Oh, man.
Not quite.
I love TFT. Don't necessarily love the noises it makes me make. But the...
the noises it makes you make.
Appreciate it. That was an interesting round because I think of like you said, Renata was able to stay alive for a couple seconds longer. The Hexa Gunblade, I think, would have been doing enough. But this is where, the time it takes to do damage, right? Or damage over time. Different things, right? Damage over time is the dot. But what I'm talking about is just there isn't enough damage quickly enough when it comes to this comp a lot of the time when you go up against high attack speed comps. So things like twin shots, things like challengers have always been tough against this particular comp unless you get like a really great Renata ult to start and you tag a lot of people with that Hextech Gunblade, but that's not always guaranteed as we might have a Striker Zeri on our hands.
Striker Zeri
was
looks
never a mercenary board.
No, it wasn't, and it didn't need to be at all because Spetham high rolled the early game, high rolled the mid game, played it well enough to get to a late game level 9 legendary board. And it is now Striker, 4 Striker, Zeri, 3 Scraps, 3 Innovators, which I think there's still improvements that can be made to this board. But for now, it's still very, very strong.
All right. So we have the IE2 for the Zeri. We have seeing this Bramble in front of us. However, the Silco is going to put the Vi in that ultimate, which actually might end up losing the round for that board. And I think it does, as the Zeri is able to survive. A win there is a guaranteed top 4 for Spetham. That was probably already the case, but now at this point, Spetham could lose every single round and probably top 4. Though, did we make it into the top 8? That is the question. Most likely, but we'll see at the end of the round. And look at this, already selling the Zeri 2. Don't need it, as we're going to put the Scrap IE on the Jinx. What do you think of that?
So, I think the Jinx is always going to be better than the Zeri in this situation. The tier 1 to tier 2 argument maybe is a little bit there, but it gives 4 Scrap. The Jinx is going to have a higher cap. I like the swap. Zeri wasn't benefiting from Sniper either, I don't believe, so yeah, this is fine.
This is fine. That's one of my favorite memes. So we have the Darkstar buff moving around for Pat Slice Pizza. Look at all the damage that's going through. The Bloodthirster might not be enough. Oh, it's Sivir versus the world now. And again, just too much damage. It's a guaranteed ult now for the Victor because of the QSS, unless we get an assassin on them. And that's just not a comp that you see very often. As Spetham does get into the top 4. Who needs 3 augments, Khroen?
Not Spetham. That's for sure.
Augments are overrated.
Anyway. Apparently, you don't need them. Augments are a crutch. Just play better.
Yeah, that's what Spetham is saying. So they're probably going to get top 4 with an Eternally Dead augment. That's why I keep saying it. It wasn't something that we picked up later. The first augment we chose was the dead one, and we win streaked through that entire stage, through everyone else's augments there for our initial stages. But now that we're at 6-3 Spetham in a pretty good position, we have IE and the Rage Blade. You usually want the Last Whisper, but the IE is going to be okay. I believe the crits damage have been changed on the bounces a couple times already in these patches, but we have Seraphine ults going both directions, so a net neutral for the attack speed on the Sivir. Jinx ult is usually the difference maker, and it will be this time around, as will win. Will lose. Finally said it in 4th place.
What's with people getting their game? Been the difference of that fight.
So,
like, I don't know. That was I just blows my mind. Blows my mind, really.
Well, I wonder if the thought is like, well, it's kind of like positioning him in the front line so he can get an ult off or something. Because sometimes you do put tanks back there. Because if Blitzcrank like pulls like a big tank unit, for example, like a Leona, right? Then you kind of just get good positioning. But I don't think it works that way. But Yixin now, who had a rough game the last time we saw him, is doing a lot better now, 12 HP. But Past Lives Pizza with that triple mutant board is definitely what everyone is looking at. I don't see how that board loses against these boards, but with the long range damage on this area, that could be it, because that's the problem, is can we get to the Malzahar and the Victor in the back line? But first we have to get through the Sivir. We have to win this round if we want to get the opportunity to do just that.
Yeah, and this round is going to be Jin having a lot of items, but being third road, is that going to be okay? It looks like it is. Zeri in the back doing a lot of work as well, as it's just a 2v1, but the snipers reign supreme. Yixin wins this round. Has a lot good going for them. And this is a very important game for Yixin. They come into this with 6 points. With a first place or a second place, maybe they can get into that final 8 lobby.
Spetham actually would probably not like that. A Yixin performance over Spetham. Pat Slice Pizza probably has just extended that first place spot at this point in time. Blitzcrank going to pull the Kaisa, it looks like, who does have that QSS, so it's not that big of a deal. Does do a little bit of damage. We do have a Rage Blade scrap choice for the Echo. We did get the Echo ult off, I believe. Oh no, we didn't. It does fizzle. But
Oh,
look at the backline access, the difference, right? We already taken down the Victor. Can we take down the Malzahar? And the answer is no.
dang. Yixen, I don't know if a third is going to be enough to advance. 13 points only, but now Pat Slice Pizza is a lock. This is going to be at least 26 points moving into the finals. Could be 28 if they're able to go first place again. Quicksilver is going to be the Rift Herald item. That could go on the Victor. Could go on the... I was going to say Cho'Gath just for the dodge chance, but probably not. It's already going to be unstoppable. It's just the Victor.
Is a fake unit, right? So the Cho'Gath is a fake unit in this point in time, as Khroen says.
Cho'Gath 3 is, I think, like Cho'Gath 2, it does the job pretty similarly. Cho'Gath 3, I think, usually a waste, but actually now seeing that there is the Colossus plating, it is less, significantly less fake.
It's over.
Yeah, Mal's 3, Kaisa 2, don't even need the Victor 2. Could just AFK, not even position, and still win the game, potentially.
He lost the last round, though, so it is not completely over. I just don't see how the Malzahar 3 loses, right? I do see the Malzahar 2 losing, and I like this choice as well, as we're going to put the Renata on instead. Yep. Much more consistent ultimate there.
Definitely. And mono generation with the Scholar. That's a big one.
Ooh, and we do tag the Sivir, which is a really good scenario right now. Hextech Gunblade on the Kaisa. Oh my goodness, so much damage from the Sivir already. Malzahar 3 is so strong, and that is it. The Malzahar 3 is enough. You can never count it out. It looked like it is 1v6, but there is enough damage already on with that ult from the Malzahar.
A lot closer than one might have expected. That Dragon's Claw Jinx too, definitely surviving longer than she maybe should in some situations, again because of that declaw. The Gunblade Malzahar is really clutch, and the Cho'Gath's able to buy so much time. Renata 2, this board keeps getting more and more powerful. Positioning remains to be the same, so will that be the same result of the fight?
It usually is. Renata didn't start with the mutant last time, though, so we missed out on some power.
Oh, wait, this is...
The first Kaisa ult is a lot better this time around, so the Sivir also having a very hard time breaking through this Cho'Gath this time. Ooh! Wait. Not even close! Not even close there.
Pat Slice had 6 mutant there. I saw on the side going to the round 6 mutant. Was it intentional? Did we not play 7 mutes, or was it... I'm dizzy.
We'll have to go back and see, because Pat Slice has been playing really well. Might have thrown a little bit on that last round. What a funky lobby. A couple funky lobbies that we've seen so far. Props to Spetham, though, for getting a dead augment and finishing exactly where they need to. Probably enough to get into that final 8. Remember, it's not just 4 and 4. It is just the total of the top 8 points per both lobby.
It is. It might have been a visual bug, thinking about the 6 out of 7 mutants there, because it should have been 7 at that point. Hopefully it was just a visual bug and actually not an actual bug. But that's the first time I saw that. It was just, caught me a little bit off guard. But either way, still a fantastic game. We see more and more compositions get into a position where they can be lobby winning, be meta defining. Mutants have been in and out of the meta, just depending on how capped you can get that specific board. But again, these strikers being able to get into a late game situation, put striker emblems on units like Jinx, like Zeri, like Jace, right? They are really coming out swinging. So let's take a look and see where that got all these players. As in Lobby B, Spetham don't even need the Mercs. Still win the lobby. 10 points there. Pat Slice got second. And Lobby A was Bruh, who did secure the first. Bum Gang second. I recall Maki in third.
Yeah, Purple Pouring going to have to go back to their lawyer friends, Bryce. I believe is the same combo there. I think Bryce taught Purple some TFT. So last time Purple was here, I think we made it to the finals with him. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. Yuki also finishing low in this lobby. I'm at a loss to see where this final top 8 is going to be, as
Yeah,
a lot of these results flipped on their head.
it's
Pat Slice
close.
Pizza has a 2-point lead over Bruh, and Spethleb goes from out of the top 8 to 4th place.
Wow, tiebreakers having to happen here, and Will Win is going to lose the tiebreakers. 3 players with 18 points advance. Will Win is the not unlucky one there. It does come down to average placement, so there's quite certainly not luck happening there. But hey, we have our top 8. And this is a very strong top 8, I think. We've seen players, even that we're not really used to seeing, do very well. Pat Slice Pizza, one of them. Spetham, Yakatoba, a player, again, that I complimented earlier. I'm really looking forward to this final lobby, Boop. What are your predictions for what we're going to see happen, if you have any?
I think this is where Harukawa usually starts popping off. So I think Harukawa Maki is definitely someone to look at. It's about time for Spetham to win a fight night at this point too, in my opinion. Like, I think we're good enough. It's kind of like the next check mark on our list to be a good TFT player. So that's definitely something I'm looking at. And the other thing is, if we're ever going to see the return of Debonaires, that first lobby that we saw, it was almost a 50% representation situation with Debonaires, with a couple different Debonair carries. There was a Brand Talent and Draven Debonair carry into that lobby, but then zero. Since then, a couple brands to start Arcanus comps, but other than that, nothing. So curious to see what the kind of like the lobby meta is going to be as well.
Exactly, especially when we get the best of players moving forward into the top 8. 8 players eliminated at this point, but still 8 moving forward to the finals, which we will have in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll go on a short break and be back with more Fight Night Rising. Brought to you by Wisdom. 3 games are in the books, Boop, and that means we've eliminated 8 players and are sending the top 8 into the finals. And this is where things always get crazy. The point totals are going to be doubled. So these gaps are going to increase, right? If you get first place, you get 20 points. If you get 8th, you only get 2. That's an 18-point gap. Things are going to get all sorts of turned around. But in first place, currently leading is Pat Slice Pizza. And it's not like there's someone who is really down there at the bottom, barely scraped by. There is just a 2-point gap between between 4th place and 8th place. So it is still very much anybody's game here, Boo.
I think points-wise, a 5th place separates everybody
Yep.
on the board. So again, anyone can take the victory. However, this 4th lobby, I think it's worth talking about, as crazy things usually happen on this lobby. So this is my prediction for today. Since our last 2 lobbies have been a little funky, a little non-traditional, I think this one's going to be our traditional lobby.
Yep.
We'll see. As we do get our top 8 to start, we're starting with Bruh World Health Organization.
I was wondering when that was going to come back.
And thank you. And then we have the tier start for the Ezreal, which is nice.
Yep. There was 5 players who wanted to go for that tier at the opener, but it was Bruh who was clicking the fastest, it seemed. Or just at the right timing, right? Early carousel can always be it could be a little interesting. But this is a Shiv which players are going to be straying away from usually, especially when it comes to how good blue buff is in this meta, be it for, Malzahar, Brand, Ari, whatever. Could be a potential innovator opener for bruh.
Okay, a couple of people going double trouble type of situations there just for this PvE round. All right, bruh. Looks like we're hoping for a couple things. Oh, actually, both of these go with tier super well.
Yep.
So we're totally fine with those 2 items. Would you go Shiv or Snow Cone here? Oh,
there we go.
Khroen.
We get
this
one.
This is legitimately the first time in like 6.5 weeks, I believe, that I have casted a prismatic choice, and it's going to be on the first one. Woodland Charm actually has one of the highest win rates as a prismatic emblem in the early game. Cybernetic is maybe the choice. Clockwork is just a base attack speed buff.
Wow, it's Clockwork here. Very interesting. I mean, okay, from this position, it's not like this is game 3 where you're either just wanting to avoid 8th or, feel like you need to go all out to go for that first place. You can play this a bit more, closer to the chest, a bit more consistent. And with that in mind, the Woodland Charm was very appealing, but bruh says, nope, not going for that. I'm going to get that gold to start econing and also just get that free attack speed. Being able to make 10 here is very nice. They can level up next turn if they want to. Play maybe innovators. Not rolling into any innovators, unfortunately. But a pair of Corkis with this tier, even though Corki was nerfed, could definitely be that twin shot carry that people know him as.
Exactly. So now that Bruh has kind of picked a direction, right? I was actually surprised that we went with the attack speed buff, but didn't go Shiv. For our item, we're going to go Snow Cone instead, which is that Chalice.
Yep.
So we're going to get power for the Blitzcrank, who's going to do a lot of damage on this initial pull because of it, and do a good amount of damage from this Ezreal. Unfortunately, we go up against Talon, who is the counter to early game Ezreal, along with this Twitch. Something we haven't seen at all so far today has been Twitch in any capacity.
Yeah, no Twitch evaders coming through. We don't got Piva here, right? So not quite seeing it. That is a Phalanx 3 or Drizzlessly. That is a lot of stats to have for units that are in the back 2 rows. And yeah, Assassins can go back there. It doesn't matter. They're going to get those resists. Harder to take them out. Easier for them to clean up in the early game, as we just saw. Moving over to Pat Slice Pizza, who's had a very, very good day today. Looking to see what else they can do. Wow, they're rolling.
This lobby is full of non-traditional moves, which I love because then we get to cast, non-traditional things. And what's very interesting here is there is a ton of money on the bench, and like no one's building Shiv anymore. I mean, that item used to be a direct slam every time you saw it in some previous patches, and we're just not doing that right now. So is the Ziggs going to be able to win this out against the Corky, who got himself a little treat at the ice cream truck? Looks like the Corky should be fine, or not.
Yeah, maybe not.
That shield on the Poppy. Here we go. There's that last auto attack. That shield on the Poppy was clutch there. Good timing on that.
Yeah.
Good job, Poppy.
And this is wise spending from Pat Slice, which is there's always context to what happens, right? And it's going to be the context of you're gonna gain XP when you refresh. So that's why Pat Slice was able to push to level 4, why it was actually valuable, and they were able to win the round because of it. Maybe even with these upgrades that are happening, because they had a lot of pairs as well when that roll happened to hit. They unfortunately didn't, but that's, just kind of hindsight. They're in a good spot, I think.
I totally agree. We just won that last round too. We're able to get our economy back in line, even with all this stuff on the bench. And we're going to be able to pick a little earlier now because we're going to lose this round. So now that we are alternating wins and losses, that's a little frustrating, but we're still in a moderately good spot. And we are going to get to pick potentially first. Depends what happens to Yaktoba.
Let's see. Yaktoba drops even further. 82 HP. Bruh is at 80. There's some decent units on this carousel, especially the Malzahar with a tier, GP with a bow, Gnar with a sword. These are fantastic. Bruh claims the Malzahar tier. Yep, Gnar, sword, quickly taken after that. And it's usually, right, on these early carousels, you're just going to pick for the items. Sometimes you'll pick for the unit. What if you just pick for both, right? Because these are units that can just go onto the board and be played as the early game carries. So very interesting carousel.
All right, another Kassadin getting itemized as a tank, but this is going to be double scholar buff here. So what I mean by the prismatic augment gave you 2 scholars. Now we have 2 more scholars on the field. So this Kassadin is actually going to be doing a lot of ulting, which is going to be very frustrating for some of these frontliners. And now that, again, the IEs are coming back, the Kassadin is going to be very good against it, and the Malzahar is going to be supporting it. Really curious to see where most of the damage is actually going to come at the end of this round, because it could very well be the Kassadin with this Thornmail.
Yeah, this is very interesting as well that Smetham was, Smetham has taken the Scholar Soul, because 4 and 6 Scholar were buffed. That's more mana generation. It is going to mean more casts, more damage. Kassadin surviving for a lot longer. We see Kassadin blocked 1900 damage there. That's a lot.
Especially at this point in the game where 1900 damage is potentially over 50% of the total damage of your team. As we have, I think that was an Innovator board with a Camille 2 take the dub. That is a very early Debonair Draven. That is worth thinking about. We're just going to take it. Why not, right?
At least
we have
hold on to it, without losing econ, but... You can't justify going that direction with Scholar Soul and with a Gunblade already slammed. As appealing as it wants to be, you can't really justify it in many worlds.
Would have found a way.
I'm sure you would have, Boop. Yeah, of course.
So do you remember when there was that one website you could go to that graded you on all of your play, like it give you an S for items,
oh yeah,
S for flexibility? So I got S's on everything, and then I got an F for items, which should make a lot of sense to you.
You're really flexible, great at econ, right? You're doing a lot of stuff, but the items you have for the boards you make...
I want to see what Rageblade Swain looks like, okay? It has nothing to do with how good it is. I just want to see what it looks like, all right? I just want to see it attack fast, because that's why I play the game, not necessarily to win. So Harukawa Maki now, who I think is like probably one of our better performers in these final lobbies, does have the Zephyr, the stiletto? What was it called when it was a part of... no, that was the shadow item. But we
Oh,
have the upgraded Zephyr here,
yeah.
which is going to be very, very difficult to deal with, especially since we'll know every single round exactly where to put it. Stiletto was the
Harukamaki.
Shiv.
Yeah, that was static stiletto. I don't remember what the Zephyr was.
Mistral or something? I don't know.
Oh, that was one. Yeah, was that? It could have been it. It could have been it. But either way, I think Harukawa during that last round hovered the Reforger over that Zig. So I wonder if they're really considering just full RNG, just gamble, just Reforge it. With this augment, you know who your next round opponent is going to be. That's why this Radiant Zephyr is so good, because you can always Zephyr the carry, know where it's going to be every single time. Spetham knows where it is, swaps the item or the units accordingly, and yeah, hits the mouse hard. That's a mouse 2 now, by the way, from Spetham. Use the Nikos for it, actually. Whoa, I love that.
I do too. I think Nikos is one of those items that just people forget to use a lot of the time. It's such a great tempo creator, right? It can change the entire lobby, right? Because all of a sudden you've got a Malzahar 2 on the board, which will most likely win every single round it comes to. And by how much is the question, right? Because this Cassin we already know is super strong. So we also are at 100 HP for Spetham, so pretty good start. You're a Spetham or a Spetham fan.
Yeah, Spetham last game to Spetham this game, just keep it rolling, right? And hey,
Yeah.
Spetham has an actual augment that's worth something to start this game off with, and is making it work very, very well, drizzlessly. It's very nice that they're able to get this socialite value with still phalanx value, both of them, right? It's really awkward when you take phalanx or backfill or something, and then the socialite hex is in the first 2 rows.
I'm cursed with that. Cursed every single time, man. So frustrating.
Oh no. Unlucky.
But I mean, that goes to show how frustrating it can be, right? When you're, picking an augment, and then all of a sudden, just because the spotlight is somewhere else, it kind of blocks a comp for you, right? You want to go that direction, but you can't, because you're never going to be able to utilize that space, or you put like one frontliner in it that doesn't really use those stats that well. As it's going to be an Arcane Misfortune who's actually crushing it right now. Is this going to be a 1-unit loss? This is a Merc board. Looks like it will be.
Yep. Perfect loss for the Mercs.
Perfect loss for the Mercs.
Exactly what you want. And that is a very, very dangerous board, and one that we should keep our eyes on as this game progresses, because once that Merc cash out happens and that Arcanist Lucian starts popping off, Arcanist Lucian is one of the strongest versions of that twin shot build. As soon as he gets tier 3, has 2 other really good items, it just deletes boards. You see the comps like that win lobbies if you get it from like a win streak opener. They win lobbies with like 80, 70 plus HP, right? This is Merc, so it is a lot riskier. But if that cash out happens at like an 8, 9 loss streak, it's going to be trouble for the rest of the lobby.
I 100% agree with you on that one. And so we also have now Drizzlessly now, right? We're starting to form some of our other comps, and that again just goes to show how strong Spetham is right now. We've got like our comp for Spetham right now, so we're literally on cruise control at this point, because we could lose all the way through stage 4 and actually come out on top of everyone else if that were to be the case. The Blitzcrank hook is going to avoid the Sivir for now, but it's going to be Last Whisper to start. I like starting with Last Whisper. You actually get a good amount of value from it, especially if the Bramble's already been built. But not a lot of attack speed right now. Rageblade, a much more impactful item for the Sivir for sure.
Yeah. Even with all these resistances, Drizzlessly has Phalanx 3 and 2. I think combined that's 85 armor and MR for everything in the back 2 rows. But yeah, still wasn't quite enough, unfortunately. Let's just scout out the rest of these boards.
Lulu's so good at this stage of the game. It's so funny sometimes to witness, because she can 1v1 a couple of the carries up until like this point. So let's see where these carousel choices are going to be. Pat Slice Pizza, who comes in to this lobby in first place, currently being affected by the 4th lobby curse.
True, it is 4th lobby, isn't it, Boop?
Yeah, it happens every time. I would rather at this point just enter this lobby in second. to avoid it, because the last 3 or 4 times I've casted this with you, it has happened.
Who's our Merc player? Do you remember?
Foam Gang.
Oh, Foam Gang was the Merc player. Okay, so yeah, they're even lower than that. Looks like Pat Slice is finding at least a couple of upgrades, but so is Foam Gang. And Foam Gang's at the point where they want to cash out
This round.
Yeah, next round at the latest, because next round means that you're going to be able to make that transition period happen over the neutral round, right? Because 30 seconds is oftentimes a bit too short to do it in. But yeah, this round, next round, 100%. Ooh, Ash gets Zephyred. That's the power of that Radiant Zephyr in Future Sight.
Look how long it is, too. Ash has. We are at 19 seconds remaining in the round, and that was the first auto attack from Ash. And when all of your damage is on an individual character like that, that's just wasted time, right?
Yeah.
That's probably 3 or 4 units that survive that normally wouldn't have because of that upgraded Zephyr.
Ooh, VIP Leona. Even if not Debonair focused, still just having Leona 2 with those items, pretty good at this point. Also, you were correct, Boop. It is the Mistral that is that upgraded Radiant Zephyr.
Oh, nice. I think I would do really well on Jeopardy.
You would. That is like that is your thing.
I gotta apply. I think I'm like old enough to know the answers to like the art questions now. Anyway, enough about that. That's a great conversation to have later, though. I think you do really well on Jeopardy too.
Oh, no, trust me, I would not.
Yakutova now running these snipers in the back line. Spetham tried to run these snipers. Beautiful hook. That is something that Pat Slice should have been able to avoid. In my opinion, but we're so behind on that Malzahar at this point from Spetham. Spetham has not lost just yet, but enough healing seems to have gone through on this Yordle comp. Pretty rough ult there, and with this extra ult with the Lulu, that should be it.
Even with this nice play from Yakatoba, the Zephyr onto the corner Ziggs, and then Blitzcrank hooking the carry Malzahar, it wasn't enough. I would never expected that to be the case. But whoa, even without this happening from the cash out, just rolls into a Jace and a Victor at level 7 from that natural shop. That's kind of crazy. The problem is, this isn't the direction that Foam Gang really wanted. This doesn't do anything for this board. That cash out was pretty bad. And there's still only a Lucian 1.
I totally agree. That could be a Jinx later. They would have loved it to be a Kaisa, right? But we did get a ton of items in this PvE round in the AP direction again, though. So we have to. I mean, Jace is awesome, right? But it's not going to be helping our AP damage. It could because of the ultimate. But we also have a snow cone opportunity here for something like the Victor. We have one component for a lot of best in slot items for almost everyone on this board, but not necessarily like a complete item for best in slot for really anyone here.
What do we? This is 3 Arcanist emblems, and wow, the GP gets sold. This is not going to be a focused on twin shots anymore. No. It's just going to be Arcanists. Probably up to 8 Arcanists, I would imagine. And with binary value and all of these components, this could still be a very scary board.
Just not right now.
Yeah.
We need that. Man, I like this Arcanist Misfortune a lot. Anyway, but we're just going to need a little bit more time to get stronger. And at 36 HP, that just might not happen. As Pat Slice's Malzahar loses again, we have over 50 gold. 4-2 is a common time for people to level. And we're going to put the Victor in.
Shiv, okay. And there should be at least one more component going on this. Yep, it's going to be the Rod and Quicksilver and a Vest here. So this is going to be 5 completed items worth of binary value, Boop. This is absolutely insane.
But sometimes it whiffs, right? And this comp has a lot of tier 1 units right now and 2 Misfortunes. That's usually not the best case scenario here, but everyone is grouped up in the corner, so this first Misfortune ult is actually going to be doing a ton of damage when we do see it go through. It does definitely help against the Renata's Hextech Gunblade as well.
Yep. That's Brabrahu, who went the early Clockwork Soul, and now that Handshake, right? Stand United. Had a Renata 2, which isn't the best utilizer of Clockwork synergies. Nice little Swain upgrade for the front line for Foam Gang, but still a long way to go. This Lucian's going to be sold. Oriana goes in for now.
I wonder why we're keeping this Misfortune in here. We really want that Misfortune 3, it seems.
Misfortune 3 is going to be solid. I mean, it's going to do a lot of damage. We're already 3 away. Level 8 is still a fine time to roll for 3-cost units. And Foam Gang is probably not going to be saving up for level 9 anytime soon. There's a lot of upgrades that need to happen. So I guess it's just that.
Ooh, a lot of damage going in on that front line right now. But we have the Arcanist trying to do their best. The Gargoyle Stoneplate was okay. Oh, do we have enough time?
Ooh,
no!
Barely not. A half a second.
Yeah, I was about to say, seconds away from potentially winning that round as Pat Slice Pizza might end up in 8th place as we start in first. And look at, we have a 100 HP gamer right now with Specimen at 4-4. So when you hit 100 HP and you're still at 100 HP at 4-4, there's a real possibility that you're going to end this game with over 80 HP. So we could maybe hope for our first ever 100 HP game here at Fight Night. Right now, depending on where Spetham is. And Spetham had such a quick start, that's why everyone else is so low right now at 4-4. I mean, someone's at 4 HP already. So Spetham has been taking a lot of damage, or putting a lot of damage into the rest of this lobby because that Malzahar has been that Malzahar since, I think, the 2nd round.
Dang. Has really not been a 100 HP victory ever?
I don't think so.
Wow. I mean, you'd remember. I leave that to
I'm
you.
the stats guy. Yeah.
You are.
I feel like I would remember that. I would have forgotten.
Yeah, I think so. What has not happened? What is going to happen here for AZL on this board? This is Exiles 3. Trying to find a way to place this Jhin in. Hey, we can solve the puzzle, I believe.
Right,
you move Echo.
All the pieces.
Yeah, there we go. We've solved the puzzle. I feel like it's Wheel of Fortune or something right now. But,
all right, so Exiles gonna help with our initial start here with the shielding. We've already seen how strong shielding is just in general as Echo gets thrown to his room. From Syndra, ooh, this is probably the closest it has been for this Malzahar so far. The Ahri definitely helping. Oh no! The Malzahar does get CC'd. The Ahri, though, might be enough, and this is going to be another win for Spetham, it looks like.
Wow. And that looked really, really scary, but Spetham's comp hung on. And now we get our final augment. So it's Prismatic Gold. So the power levels of these really strong boards are going to be very, very crazy. Would love to see either Portable Forge or Component Grab Bag here, and it is going to be that Portable Forge. Anima Visage, Runans, or Randuins, which you can't really go.
Because you have Exiles.
Yep. So it's going to be Anima Visage. Not bad. And this board does have an Innovator emblem, which means that Dragon is on the horizon for the end game most capped version of this board. Just need a Jace and a Zillion. Not having a Zillion at this point, though, is a little unfortunate.
It's going to be harder to find the Zillion potentially than you want it to be. It's still a 20% chance, so it could definitely still pop up. But
yeah,
you're going to see a lot more 3-cost units. That's right now, as we're trying to solve the puzzle once again, which we do. I probably would have gotten Grab Bag because we would have finished the sword and gotten another item as well. So we probably upgrade our power level a little bit more now that we know the choice from Portable Forge. But this Anima Visage is super strong. So it's a little bit of, which direction you want to go personally versus, this Vi who is going to use it well, but is it going to be enough, right?
Oh.
And as of right now, it looks like it will not be,
Wow.
as this is, again, the first Draven we've seen since the first lobby.
Yeah, that's Sivir lived for way longer than I would have expected. And because of that, she helped tear through the Vi. That was also a dual carry Sivir and Draven, which are units that don't share any synergies together, so really hard to fit them in that situation usually. But hey, they found a way to do it. Aziel, however, 38 HP. Look at the lobby HP is, right? This is so crazy. You have Spetham way ahead of everybody else at 100 still. On the Raptors, right? Crazy to win streak all the way to here. And then the next player is at 50. and everyone else is 38 or lower. There's gonna be a lot of eliminations very, very soon. Oh my!
Yeah.
Passive roll. What?
This is probably going to be our quickest lobby of the day. Spetham's still at 100 HP, by the way. Don't give up. Don't lose all hope just yet. It's very hard to go 100 HP. Khroen, I think you had to get 3 build different augments to do it against me.
I did.
Once last time, and that was like during the peak of build different. So that's usually what it takes, and that's usually something that happens in the latter game. But in a tournament setting, for this to happen is huge. Spetham might actually be the person we talk to at the end of this game, because we're definitely going to top 4. But are we going to win the lobby? There's a high potential that we do, and we will not get a 100 HP lobby when the Renata takes it down.
And everybody survives. Haruka Maki, Pat Slice Pizza, and Bruh are all 4 HP, 1 life remaining. Yakutoba potentially 1 life as well. Drizzlessly has 6 Irelias, but they don't have any items. It really is just the Sivir show. Ooh, Pat Slice has Vex 3, Malzahar 3. With the IE, I think that's because that was the Jeweled Lotus augment. So those Malzahar ticks can crit with that IE and will do a ton of damage.
All right. We have the tier 3 Vex. This is the issue here. No Bramble, though, on that Vex, so the Last Whisper should be good enough. We do get an ult from the Victor. Sivir is pretty low and doesn't survive. Does get stuck on that Vex. Giant Slayer would have been really nice for it. It's already a Malzahar 3 as well. Look at this. We have an elimination already at 5-3, and everyone except for Spetham under 40 HP at this point in time. Yeah. There's pretty much no chance that this goes to stage 7. So it really is kind of feeling like a coronation for Spetham, but we did just lose a round, our first one ever at for this round for this lobby at 5-1. So it's not guaranteed just yet. A little surprised we don't have Malzahar 3 yet.
Yeah, there's already another Malzahar 3, or there was at least. So yeah, it makes it a lot more difficult. I feel like we also cursed these players. You were talking up Haruka Maki is coming into the finals doing really well. I was complimenting Yakutoba and they went 7-8 held hands. So
that's okay.
Whoops, cast a curse.
You know, gamers have short memories at school.
Yeah, they'll forget by next week.
Yeah.
Or by like tomorrow.
I won't. I'm going to cry about it. But yeah, Spetham now some good Arya ults right now. Not enough to reach the Sivir. That's why I don't like putting her in the back row. Because if you put her in the third row, she hits everyone. Unfortunately, we don't hit the Sivir at all when it comes to any of those ultimates. And there is a dragon on the field, as we do have our top 4 right now. Stage 5-4 is going to be where Spetham starts losing this HP, and this is how we get to stage 7. If we do, as if Spetham cannot wrap this up. This should be a top 2, but who is going to be the second person? Where's Spetham going to go power-wise? We have an IE now to go with the Jeweled Gauntlet on the Ari. So that's a great way to do it. Stand United is going to be providing a lot of momentum for him as well. And here it is, Pat Slice Pizza, who's literally been in 8th place the entire day game so far, is the one that snuck the Malzahar 3 in, and now with an IE, Shiv, and Morello's, and now is in the top 4. 4th lobby curse avoided.
I know, I was just going to say that 4th lobby curse looked almost inevitable for Pat Slice Pizza, but no. This is a Lulu 3, Malzahar 3. And the very interesting thing here is that every reroll that Pat Slice Pizza does right now gets them closer to 9 because of that wise spending. So these rerolling, Vex, Lulu, Malzahar, it's going to be giving Pat Slice likelihood for a more capped late game board, especially because he keeps on winning these rounds right now, and it's not even like these were really close. All the important units had survived. Malzahar nearly full HP. Pat Slice Pizza could go even further. 3rd place is really close to securing.
2nd place might be in the mix as well, because Spetham has lost against everybody in the top 4 so far in the last part of this lobby. So we have a couple things that we have to do every round, like avoid the blitzcranks, you make sure that exiles are getting their buffs. That's an awkward 5 striker board that we're seeing, and that goes to show kind of how like the lobbies have gone so far today. We still have someone printing Yordles on one of these boards, but we do have a Malzahar 3. No mutants though. So we'll see if that's going to be enough. Arcana's in a really good spot right now. just
Yeah.
in general. So
Definitely.
we're going to see it go up against the Sivir, which has kind of been the consistent comp of the day.
Yep. That's Spellblade as well. Wow, they just do a lot of damage, and Vex lives forever. She gets another cast off. Sivir does eventually take out that Vex, but Malzahar is going to be still spreading those malefic visions and wins the round versus Drizzlessly. I think Pat Slice Pizza has won versus everybody that is still alive right now. And again, wise spending means that Pat Slice is going to have a higher capped end game board, be level 9, be able to run either 3 syndicates if they want to, or another enchanter, because there are more AP comps in this lobby, right?
We're looking at the AP comp, I believe.
I
So
think. Oh yeah, maybe there's not. I know that.
yeah.
I mean, at least will help versus some of the just kind of like ambient AP damage, like in the innovator composition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, there is another Malzahar Ari board. Yeah, here it is. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's Betham's.
I'm not crazy.
So, well,
just a little bit.
So now that we have the Silco, the Victor is a lot more attractive now as well. Jace pops up in the pack. Ooh, that's a pretty good upgrade, actually. That's a good tank. But we're going to put the Hextech Gunblade on the Ari, the Shojins on the Victor. Make sure to stop putting blue buffs on Victor, friends. Shojins is better. The auto attacks are actually going to generate more mana than I think the blue buff would at the end of the day.
Ooh, nice Braum positioning for Drizzlessly. Is going to be able to kind of stop everything what Spetham wants to do. However, this
Victor
Ari is doing a lot of work right now. Can it get another cast off? It can because of the Zyra CC and wins the round because of it. The lock comes through for the Morgana. Rolls into a cast and 2 on 9 because why not? 3 Aris away from RE3. 1 Victor
that was
away
less
from
likely
Victor
to happen than a 5-cost unit showing up.
Yep.
Getting that tier 2 cast in at level 9, but we got it. This is actually a pretty tanky comp, just in general, but with the Ari being most of the damage right now. So the Victor didn't get a very good ult last time. Hopefully it's a little bit better this time around. And we have 2 Aris on the board.
Yeah,
now.
Don't need the Kassadin because we're only running 4 Scholar, not 6. Just AP versus AP board here. And this Declaw Vex might be a huge difference.
God,
but the Victor
Zyra.
cast and the Zyra damage. Oh, this is a lot closer than I would have thought. This Ari, can it get through the Vex in time before the Silco is going to grief it? Yes. Silco diff. Pat Slice Pizza goes out in 3rd, and Drizzlessly is 1 HP and a dream right now with this Striker Sivir board.
Yeah, and we've lost, I think, both of the rounds that we've gone against Betham so far. And RE3 might not actually be a win condition here. It would be really, really nice, but we have no gold. It's not something that is a real kind of possibility unless we get them all in one pack. You know, crazier things have happened. We would love the Victor 2 and the Silco 2 before we start thinking about that. We're always going to put the Victor in on the Silco square. And the Blitzcrank is going to pull the Zyra, who's actually been low-key the MVP over the last couple rounds. So we're not going to get... Oh, we get one ult off in the back line. That's going to help the Victor here.
Oh, the Victor ults, and then the Ari to clean it up.
Nice.
Set them with above 50 HP. Pretty dominant win from start to finish. They came into this lobby with only 20 points, but now might as well just double it. With that, Spetham might be in the lead as we move towards our final game, Boop. Another lobby where we do see that Striker Sivir do very well, but didn't quite win the lobby. AP on the table as well.
Yeah, if you're laddering, that Striker Sivir seems to be the comp still.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is top 4'd a lot. It's won once. Right, so that's kind of like the trade-off. There's been a lot of comps in the past that have been like that, but now that we're in the final lobby, I'd probably avoid the Sivir comp and try to 1st or 8th as Spetham did, as we'll see how far ahead Spetham most likely is with these scores.
Yep, scores. Oh, is tied
not at
for
all.
1st. Okay, Pat Slice Pizza did secure a 3rd. And they did come into this game for this final lobby with a bit of a lead. So now their fates are in their own hands, Boop. This is going to be a really intense final lobby per usual because literally everybody is still able to at least get into the top 4, win some money, come back next week, and maybe be able to take that Fight Night Rising champion title away from bruh who.
And it looks like it potentially could happen as bruh who needs to finish double the space above Pat Slice Pizza and Spetham at this point in time. 20 points might not be enough, even if we get it, if Pat Slice and Spetham finish in second or third place. Because remember, again, it is doubled. So now you can push leads or you're going to fall further behind. But getting 8th place in this particular lobby is almost an elimination when it comes to the top spot, but not the top 4, as everybody still can get top 4, but not everybody. I mean, mathematically, I actually think everyone could still win, but very, very unlikely, as Pat Slice and Spetham just need a 7th to lock it up, I believe.
Well, Spetham can get 2 points. So either Pat Slice or Spetham, both of them can't go 8th, so one of them will be at 44 points. So Yakutob and Haruka Amaki, I don't think can mathematically win.
Oh, NA math.
Yeah. But top 4 is on the table. And for everybody else, the win is still on the table, right? Game could still win with 26 points. And I mean, we know that players like Haruka Amaki, especially, who have done so well in a lot of previous weeks, I mean, that's kind of likely. We expect to see them in top 4 coming back, even if they don't secure the win, right?
I totally agree. So this last lobby has stakes, that's for sure. And they're well done, because Pat Slice Pizza is I'm so sorry.
You doing okay?
Oh man, I don't even have kids. These dad jokes should not even exist. I have 3 fur babies, but that one was rough. I feel like I lost a year of my life by using that joke.
It's okay. It's already been gone 1 year out the other. I already forgot what you said. It just, we're chilling. We're chilling.
All right, let's see if these steaks are well done in this next game. You like well done steak. One of the best King of the Hill lines ever is, if a man tells you want a steak well done, just kindly ask him to leave. As Spetham is going to be who we're riding with at the start here. This is tied for the lead with Pat Slice Pizza. So we are going to start with the sword. Nice start. And some Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
Wow.
Actually, Dr. Pepper.
I love Dr. Pepper. I'm more of a Mr. Pibb, but Dr. Pepper's pretty good.
Not a fan myself, but that's
Each
okay.
their own.
Each their own, indeed.
Yeah, humans are allowed to have their own taste buds.
You mean humans are unique and different from each other and like the different things? What?
That's crazy. Oh man.
Never would have known that.
Oh man, that's not how I was taught. As Kassadin, now we're pretty good front line.
Yeah.
Right now, and a good amount of gold. So we have like an innovator start, we have like a chem tech start if we want. We could start with bruisers as well. So this is actually a pretty good opening right now. We can sell that Zach if we need to, if we want to make some economy going into the first round. We have a sword and a belt, and we're gonna get an item on the next round most likely. Because
actually we're not.
Because we got the 2-3 cost units as.
Yeah, they got Morgana, Zac, and then they just got another 3 costs. So yeah, they're gonna get more gold here. So Spetham can plan for that, right? Spetham knows that they're not gonna get an item, they're gonna get gold. So they can sell to 10, but maybe not while having 7 gold on the board. Actually, how much gold they have? They have 1. This is gonna be 7 if they get another 3 costs. And yeah, they can sell literally everything to hit 10 gold, I suppose. But that would be dropping a lot of pairs. Dropping the Singed pair, dropping the Camille pair, which are good units to have. This blue battery is also interesting.
Yeah, especially since that's one of those augments that gets worse as time goes on, just because you have items going on of your units. But on the early game, things like Zac actually and Kassadin do really well with things like blue battery. 3 extra gold. We definitely can make economy if we want.
Oh, didn't level.
No pre-level.
They sold to have 4 gold and then didn't pre-level.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just a APM situation.
I don't know. Maybe. This is nice. Brand with blue battery is actually very, very nice because as soon as he casts, he autos once and then casts again. And even with blue buff, Brand will ult, auto, and then cast. So it's basically no difference. Doesn't need a blue buff. We haven't seen any Brand re-rolls necessarily today, but again, in game number 1, we did see a couple of tier 2 Brand carries do very well. Those
Yeah, that's why I'm a
Debonaires.
little
Yeah.
surprised we haven't seen that brand reroll because it's actually the brand has performed really well
Yeah.
so far. We haven't seen it push to that level yet, but I remember even on first or eighth there was like a VIP brand on one of the snapshots and it won like against like a huge comp. So personally, I think this brand's actually been pretty good for a while. It's just no one's committing to it because everyone moves off of that as a VIP as the game goes on. So this thing should be fine. And it's going to be we're not going to have 100 HP all the way to stage 5-1 this time, but we're still doing all right. Pat Slice Pizza. Remember, if he finishes ahead of Spetham, you're going to be really set up for the win. Spetham, same thing for Pat Slice. And we're going to be running Yordles, who this has been today a rough comp for people. Not a lot of them have cleanly come out of the Yordle comp so far. So interested to see if Pat Slice is going to be the first one today.
Yeah, some people have, I believe. There was Harukawa Maki, I think, earlier in game number 1, had early Yordles and then pivoted into the Draven board, and that did fairly well. I don't think it won, right? But no, it didn't win, but did fairly well. But yeah, Yordles are hard to run if you are a player who doesn't pivot out of it in time or isn't sure of what their pivot point actually is. Generally speaking, still set you up for success when it comes to the economy front of things.
Especially if you win these first
That
couple rounds with Yordles, right? So you're getting the best of both worlds. So you're winning with Yordles, say you get on a win streak somehow. It's gold upon gold upon gold. You might not be using the gold right now, but it's definitely going to be used a little bit later. The locket choice here is really interesting because that means that we had the option for Rageblade, which, has been okay before, as Yami versus the World is going to be the choice today.
Yep.
Antonio Carlos Jobim sounds like a classical musician.
Pat Slice is still remaining to just be a whole vibe. I've never heard of that
on the
person.
screen, man.
Yeah,
we're casting what's on the screen.
That's what we're paid to do, right? That's like that's our job.
Talking about music. Yep.
Yep.
As we have the casted in the front line again, casted very popular so far today as a frontlining unit. Caitlyn and Ash, we're probably going to get one unit out, but that's about it. His phone game going to be losing out once more. Yakitopa and Pat Slice, drizzlessly. Oh, not anymore. And AZL with the 100 HP going into the carousel.
Yeah, 3 players at 100. Very interesting dynamic. Surely one of them is going to lose that 100 HP status by Krugs. Doesn't have to happen that way. I think 3 can go into there, but unlikely. Tryndamere was buffed, right? I believe so.
The ultimate was.
Yes. That spinning slash damage was buffed. And that only happened, I believe the note was because like the Warwick got nerfed and is in line now that they feel, comfortable enough to buff Tryndamere so that there aren't, multiple overperforming, Chemtech challengers in there. Yeah, that would be a kind of difficult package to deal with. But that being said, maybe Tryndamere can start being in the conversation of reroll carries. I say that very hesitantly because I really don't believe that. I think Tryndamere is probably still not in a good enough spot. But we have seen in previous weeks on Fight Night Rising, Tryndamere work as a mid-game item carrier, kind of akin to a Gnar.
Gnar's just better at it, though.
Yeah, it still might be. You still definitely might be right.
Yeah, that's always been the issue, right? When you can actually buff someone else up with Gnar, who can also carry those items, you're probably going to go the Gnar direction a little bit more frequently if you can. But if you already have the challengers, for example, then Tryndamere I think is a good bet because it was a massive buff when it came to that tier 2 ultimate. I believe it's like 30 extra damage.
Yeah, I think it was 20 at tier 1, like 25 then. Actually the tier 3 is only a 10 damage, but yeah, the tier 1 and tier 2, 20 and 25 damage increase. Pretty big.
Yeah, that's an item component there. So it's something definitely that you can use. But we're looking over at Yakitopa right now, who's had a very up and down day. Our scrap specialist. That is a sentence we haven't said before.
Scrap specialist. I like that. This package of 4 scraps, 3 innovators is one that we've seen multiple times throughout today. And it is very good, especially once you're able to get it even before stage 3, right? We saw an earlier lock-in at stage 3-1, but this is even faster. It pretty much almost, I feel like, guarantees you a full stage 2 win streak, unless you run into a real crazy high roll board, or like true 2s or something.
Yeah. All right, so this RFC actually pretty good on the Ezreal. Remember, every time we ult, we get attack speed, so you already have a higher base attack speed, and they're all going to hit all the time. That was a pretty big win, 5 units there, 2 people still at 100 HP. Something that Spetham's probably frustrated at is that Pat Slice Pizza is the one at 100 HP too, but we saw that Spetham lost about 50 to 60 HP at 100 at the late game. We did pull it out because of maybe taking out of a mutant, maybe it was a visual bug. We're still not quite sure, but at the end of the day, Pat Slice Pizza doing really well, and that's a Yordle comp, so that's win streaking economy plus printing Yordles. So
yeah, that's
we're gonna have no problem with money going into the late game, even if we start losing right now. That's the craziest thing about it.
Ooh, there is one Merc player. Didn't catch who it was off of the quick scouting, but we know there are Mercs. We also know that someone else is running 4 snipers at this point with, I believe it was a sniper emblem or heart or something along those lines. AZL instantly sells that sniper. Going in the assassin direction right now with Knife's Edge. This could turn into a Kha'Zix, but there are already 4 Talons. Make me think, what's the possibility AZL continues and goes reroll Talon?
Jirachi would be very happy.
I know. We saw one last week. Jirachi was stoked to see that one.
Yeah, look at that branding. Such good branding that we made it into the patch notes.
I know. That's
right. Consistency is key in TFT. AZL 333.
Ooh. Okay, pop off. Boop.
I know, right? We shall see. How good his knees are?
Ooh, I was gonna say how good this Merc cash out's going to be, but
Oh man, my preschool teaching coming into handy there. Rhymes, folks. This locket actually tons of value here. Really like the Talon too. This could win for a bit.
Talon's still pretty good. Even though that with this Talon composition, right, if it does remain to be a Talon composition, the Knife's Edge isn't necessarily the best in synergizing with it. This Talon works well off of the AP damage, right? True damage as well from being a VIP. Oh. That's yet another Nico onto a Malzahar to get Malzahar to be a mid-game carry. I love seeing that. I think that is the perfect situation. It means that From Gang does not have to roll any longer, can maintain this 50 gold, and get to a stabilization point to get to a fast 8 or even maybe fast 9 a lot easier. I like that a lot.
What is the mutant buff? Is it cybernetics?
That's a good question.
I didn't see the Dark Star thing. I didn't see execute. I didn't see double attacks. So I think that's kind of it could be metamorphosis, but I didn't see that either. So I think it is the one where you get items and you get extra stats.
Cyber Keeper's Battle Mage.
All position oriented. This is where you're actually seeing the augment differential in the patch here. This is a very good example of this is great. Right, this is a great choice of 3. They all kind of do similar but different things, right? That you want to have a hard time choosing between these kinds of augments. You don't ever want something like Rich Get Richer here that you're just never going to see, right? You're never going to, most likely not going to pick an economy augment at this point. So this is really awesome to see, and I believe we're seeing the adjustment with this augment choice right now. With that patch.
That's really interesting. Do you want to go back 2 rows? Do you want to go front 2 rows, or do you just want to just clump no matter what rows you're in? Was the decision there, and it's gonna be back 2 rows, and I like this. Malzahar excels back here. The extra resistances are going to be really nice for that Rek'Sai who is already positioned back there, and then walks up or intercepts assassin aggro as well. Right, we still gotta keep our eye out on those Talons. This is bruh with 4 snipers that are all 1-star, a Jhin, and a frontline that disappeared before I even finished that sentence.
Oh no, bruh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Ooh, jackpot. I got a spat.
Yeah.
If they can cash out after this
It is
round.
Mercs. Yeah, so
Yep.
it is that is the Merc player. It was Bra. So hopefully we get that cash out, and it looks like it's going to be a big one. As we're at 26 HP. That is enough to make it to a PvE round, but it's not enough to potentially make it to the last augment. But yeah, 66 HP now for Foam Gang. Tried to play Mercenaries I think last time around, and unfortunately didn't have the best option. Maybe Mercenaries just isn't the play today, because even Spetham, who picked a Mercenary Heart, didn't use it, as Bruh absolutely needs an upgrade
Yeah.
to win here, or else it's just not going to happen.
This roll down is going to be really key for Bruh, because if they hit things like a Jin 2, some more frontline, be it another Bruiser, it probably has to be, probably dropping down below 4 snipers. You don't need 4 snipers right now. And oh, okay, level 7. They have 50 gold to roll. What are they going to pick up? Various upgrades come through. Oh, now they're a little slow.
A little slow.
A little slow.
On a lot of slow.
Right,
I think
take out 4 sniper.
right now.
Take out 4 sniper.
We have the ability to make us a little bit stronger. This is not a winning comp yet.
Okay, here we go. This could be a winning comp, depending on what has backline access. And a Sivir could splash to backline access, so I'm a little scared.
Yeah. I.e. Last Whisper, though, best in slot for that Jin. You're already seeing it being a little bit better. Oh, and we do ult the Sivir to start, but no, because the Gnar jumps. We're going to move away from the Sivir. Has enough damage been done? It's actually moderately close. Sivir versus Jin.
Wow.
And Sivir takes the dub. Bruh, frustrated. So we have 20 HP and a required victory here at round 3-6. You want to be able to cash out and use your time on this PvE round.
2-5 costs.
But is it going to happen?
I know. This is so intense, right? Because this is a position to where Bruh, as you mentioned, really needs to win this round. Winning it at 4-1 is going to be a lot more difficult because people roll down at 4-1 a lot of the time, and you're not going to have that PvE round of wiggle room to transition. Bruh not rolling here, however, but is going to reposition. It's awkward to pull a unit in front of that Blitzcrank because they'll kind of mess with that Jin targeting. Unless it is a carry, which, hey, a Corki 2 is not a bad unit to pull.
Ooh, is it a good enough unit, though? Oh, beautiful Orianna ult.
Okay,
oh, man,
business.
that could have been, that is the round winner. That Orianna ult, I believe, got every single person on Pat Slight Piece's team, and that was a top 2 player, I believe, at that time. So, actually a pretty good matchup. It's so interesting at this point. If you're running Mercs, you actually probably want to see someone in the top 3. At this point in time. And let's see this cash out. We're already using some of that bench space. Those were probably going to be units and not gold. 65 gold right now, level 7.
Ooh.
Galio, Seraphine, and some gold, even more. Ew! Sorry.
Spatula to loaded dice. They're going to level up to 8. Maybe loaded dice for the Jin too.
Oh, man.
Victor
and
Galio,
and then you get the items in this round.
Yep. It's a ton of
Galio's
items.
attack damage, I believe we got a little bit of Clapio love.
Yeah.
On this last patch.
Galio did get buffed, right?
Galio was, I believe, like the least used unit across a couple patches now. Lot of opportunity here, but you got to see through all of the muck, right, in order to get there. We got a lot of units and a lot of things to do. We've got 5 seconds to do it.
Bro's not seeing through the muck. I mean, okay, a little bit. Quicksilver here. That's respectable. Would have liked to see more gold being rolled in that situation, for sure. 3 snipers, 2 Oriannas on the field. A lot more could have been done. And this is why you need that extra round of wiggle room, right? Because even though Bruh had it, this board is still not really where it needs to be.
Right? We still have a long way to go. That's why we have so much money on the bench,
yep.
Right? And there's a couple different directions on the bench right now, too. We have good items for someone like Draven, but those items are on Jin right now. We have our Misfortune still on the board. We only have a Darius and Blitzcrank on the board right now. Both get sold. We're moving into Debonaires, it looks like.
As soon as you hit that Draven 2, but if Bruh happens to hit the Jin 2, would be very content to just settle with that as the carry. Morgana. Oh, Jin goes back in. Jin back in. Challenger spat on the Oriana. I wonder, is there ever room? No, there's not. I'll stop myself there. I was gonna say, is there ever room to run Jin and Draven duo carry, but I really don't think so. Oh, that Oriana ult
Two
was
sets ago.
insane. Yeah, I
Two
know.
sets ago, that was kind of the case. Draven always had a secondary carry with them. But yeah, these Oriana ults have been absolutely nutty. My Oriana ults give me a lot of shielding. But not a lot of displacement, unfortunately, as we pick up a ton of forecasts there for Drizzlessly, who is struggling right now. Rubber Bros comp is stronger right now than Drizzlessly's, and we have no gold, unfortunately. So we're still picking up things like Camille to help us out, as we also have 3 snipers on this board.
Front line weaker, back line
Huge.
weaker. Nicoing the Draven to hit Draven 2 is huge. But this is a sniper augment board, Boop. And it's a Draven being carried.
Well, hey, the last time we saw someone win, they didn't use their first augment.
That's very true.
So, you don't necessarily absolutely need it. Because we didn't hit on this board at this point in time. Talent just not good enough right now. We are 1 away from Talent 3, though. And we have Featherweights, so it's going to hit pretty hard.
Yeah. Featherweights was the indicator if that's going to be the direction. There was only an item and a half, though, on that Talent. I believe there was the RFC and the sword. And you need the IE, plus, as Jirachi said last week, really, really would like to have healing, be it a Gunblade or a Hand of Justice if you can't get your hands on the Gunblade, because Talon really needs that protection.
Totally agree. Still I don't know, it still feels weird putting the Hextech Gunblade on someone like Talon, who throughout all of Summoner's Rift, you're right, is an AD unit, but is going to benefit from AP in this particular set. Hextech Gunblade best in slot for that Talon. Renata now to help us get into some Scholars. That actually helps the Draven get to those enhanced axes.
Yep.
But again, we have 1 source of damage right now. The other people are literally just meat shields for this Draven at this point in time.
Once the Jin becomes Jin 2, even without items, Jin 2 still will do a respectable amount of damage. But we're far away from that, right? Because we're level 7, 10 gold, and about to approach the Raptors. We really need this Draven to do a lot of heavy lifting to get us kind of back in the game economy-wise here. But he can do that. I think the big shoes to fill, but he can definitely fill them.
Ooh, that was man, this Renata ult actually ruined those chances. And Renata is so good against tanks, like you're seeing from the Leona. It's not enough to execute on the Tom Kench. No, the shielding
Maybe
is there. The
ult.
second ult might be enough. I don't think it is. I think we need another ult, actually.
The third ult.
Here we go. We don't get anything from it because of overtime. If overtime happened a little earlier, we probably would have been fine. Gold augment to end things here. Celestial Blessing is going to be the choice. And an RE2. Spetham absolutely needed that, it looks like. So, but we also have a Zyra 3 happening for AZL, who is re-rolling right now.
A 0 synergy Ari could just sell this Renata.
Yep.
With the items in the Ari. Yeah. Huh. I would think it is likely to sell this Renata from this point, because Spetham is only on 1 Renata, basically 0 gold, has a Vex in there. Just, you could run Bruiser Ari, screw it, right?
Yeah, I agree, actually. Ari is always going to be damage, right? Just like you said, like with Jin, right? You don't necessarily need the items. Ari is going to find something to ult, right? Is it going to be 1 unit or 2? We don't have any syndicates right now, so we're helping with the Arcanus buff as well with the Vex, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Renata causing most of the damage, and then Ari probably executing them at the end.
Yeah, at least attempting to. Spetham could have sold the extra Ari to go for Vex 2 here in this situation. Opted to not do that, however. Not really sure why. But, hey, this round's going to be a win, regardless. And still farming more item components. And money, to which Spetham, I guess, didn't have to sell the Ari. Just got the Vex 2, because 2K is a good unit on stage 4.
There's an RE3 direction for this surprise Ari comp. for Spetham. You had some really good Ari items on that Renata, so really, really intrigued to see if that ever goes down, because the Renata was the MVP on that last round. So,
Yeah.
not MVP in terms of VIP debonair, but MVP meaning like that was a lot of the enabling for the rest of the team, because Renata does so well getting someone to a point for a Tomcat execute or an Ari ultimate.
Yep. Oh, Pandora's items are going to... Oh... Okay, gonna reroll the belt and the rod to TG the Ari, and, you know, I respect that. This Ari was never in Smethem's mind going to be the primary carry here. She was always just going to be the supplementary kind of cleanup unit, as you mentioned, kind of the unit that just is there to execute things when Renata gets them low. So hopefully they're able to remain consistent there in that kind of game plan. Bruh, who is still 20 HP on a win streak, and that's where they were since they cashed out. 2 players have fallen below. But Yakatopa really far ahead right now, 86 HP with that Sivir.
Yeah, might sneak into the top 4 if we're able to stay in this position. Draven versus Draven now. Blitzcrank's whiff, but it's a tier 2 Draven versus a tier 2 Draven 2. Runins versus IE Last Whisper. We have some lifesteal, though, for the Draven on Drizzlessly's side. However, it looks like Pat Slice doing a lot better this time around. No IE here. It's the Giant Slayer, which is going to be very good against this Leona. It's only a matter of time.
Drizzlessly, with this 5-unit loss, it is going to be a bit too much. And Drizzlessly, unfortunately, does take 8th place. Ah, man. They were in a really good spot. They did have 34 points, I believe, going into that game. Might end up bot 4ing on the day because of it, though.
Yeah, that Echo... that Echo is absolutely brutal to look at. Even at tier 1 is going to get at least Frozen Heart value.
Yep.
Right. So we also have a Kha'Zix.
Why not?
Yeah, for the assassin. So we got the tier 2 Kha'Zix there. That's going to help execute some people in the backline. Talk about backline access. Actually, good positioning here for our Draven player. Pat Slice is going to ignore this Frozen Heart because of the QSS. Great item. I build it on most of my carries. Yep. We're going to send Echo to his room anyway to get Frozen Hearted himself. So this bodyguard finally, that bodyguard Echo finally does fall. Is this enough damage from the Sivir? This actually went Sivir's way last time. But the Blitzcrank pools, but we also have the augment where the bear survives until all of the innovators don't. And that is not going to be enough. Is it?
No.
Well, that was actually a lot closer than I think it should have been. But, you know, that augment with the innovators can be mad frustrating. And it seems like it's been winning Yakitoba a lot of rounds. We have over 66 gold, too. So we could slow level to 9. We could soju it and just go to 9. And lose. And then... in
a much better spot than the typical soju spot going to 9. 79 HP, I mean... This is really, really wonderful to watch because it was kind of, as you call it earlier, this innovator board that carries an Irelia instead. And Irelia is only a part of the puzzle, right? There's still a Sivir with 2 of her best in slot items. She's still doing very well. And there's kind of infinite frontline almost because of that self-repair. Not good enough in this round because it is that Striker Sivir variant, it looks like. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, really close, but barely not enough.
Wow. It's actually really fun that we just saw 2 rounds go to 1 unit like that. That's how close the rest of this lobby is. Spetham, though, that is unfortunate. Spetham needs to finish ahead of Pat Slice Pizza to win, right? And that doesn't seem like it's happening right now. However, it's Yakatopa with, you know, almost 40 HP advantage over Pat Slice Pizza. So Spetham might look like we're super far down, but in reality, we're only 1 or 2 fights from being in a top 4 position.
Couple fights could swing things, as you mentioned. Death Cap. Yakatoba picks up. That goes onto the Seraphine. Again, Seraphine's going to be buffed this patch, casting more often, lower max mana. Doing his due diligence, scouting out. Where this Echo lands is very important. Attack speed slow on the key carry units can definitely change a whole entire fight.
Last minute swap. Your gut saying going to the other side, and that looks
Nope.
like it was
No
the wrong
good.
choice. So the Kazakhs, ooh, interesting. The Kazakhs was able to corner there, moves away from the Sivir. That's really good news. But we have a double, excuse me, double Zeke's mutant there. Not enough.
Oh, then Aurelia not quite able to survive with a Bloodthirster's shield. Seraphine does get another cast off, which makes it easier for Sivir to clean
Augment
on
difference.
up.
Wow.
Yeah, I love this. And this is really a big portion, I think, of that success was from the weak spot. Because you don't need Last Whisper. And your Sivir is just able to, with that Striker AD and Aurelia as well, to just tear through those defenses because your Augment just allows it. As you mentioned, kind of augment diff in that sense, I think, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Plus the innovator augment, where it reheals until all the innovators died, kept that bear alive until the very end of that round. So
Also true.
It ate some of the damage that would have normally been on the Sivir, and it didn't. So we're looking at Foam Gang now. Spetham 3 HP. Spetham absolutely needs this win in order to get that top 1 spot. A little bit too low. We actually might fall out completely because these are doubled. The Renata, though, looking pretty strong, but is that enough damage fast enough? A lot of hopping.
Ooh.
And Foam Gang gonna take the L. 5 HP there. Spetham with 319 for Harukawa. Bruh. Has not lost a round since the last time we saw him.
Yep.
This is starting to tighten up.
I think that overlay shows that it's been 18 rounds since Foam Gang has fought against bruh. So statistically, they should fight each other at some point. Very soon. Maybe that would be Foam Gang's final round, because Foam Gang is probably out here soon. Probably not much longer for this world, because their comp just isn't good enough. 4 Bruiser, 5 Mutant. The items are not perfect by any means. They're already losing a bunch of matchups.
Yeah, we forced we tried to put AP we use AP units, but it looks like the items actually were a little bit more friendly to AD on that comp, so it can definitely be frustrating as we're starting to roll. We still have that Renata 2 to help us. Definitely helped us on that last round. We're going to give the Edge of Night to the TK. Sir Thomas going to eat some cow. Hopefully not get some mad cow disease in the process.
Oh, just some well done steak.
Yeah, and a cowbell. Oh, thank you. A throwback. I love it.
I got you.
I love it. I love the throwback. You're listening. Thank you.
I am. I do listen.
My husband is watching. You should listen. I'm just kidding. He's actually like the best listener that's ever existed. So for the lulz, though, it's worth it.
True. It's worth it for the joke. The Zephyr hit on the Ari, but allowed the Renata still a lot of time in this fight to take out Pat Slice Pizza's board, and Spetham has scaled, it seems like.
Definitely. I think that's a Renata diff between a lot of our rounds. That was a Renata 1 for a while, but look at where Pat Slice Pizza is now versus Spetham.
Oh, this is crazy. This is good.
Could not get this close at this point in time, and so now we actually have a Renata 3 angle if the game allows us. We're going to just give it to Tom Kench. 36 extra AP. That's an entire item, pretty much. And so in terms of who we're going to be going up against, it's anyone other than Pat Slice Pizza, which I would actually love for that to be the opposite. Pat Slice and Spetham should probably be in a round where they eliminate each other. Could still happen. Bruh, though, is definitely looking at a lobby win potential. Sivir just with 2 items. Once again, Renata really safe. This is looking pretty good for Spetham.
It is. Was able to dodge that Echo Frozen Heart as well. It does find its way towards the Renata, but that's okay. The Ari still casting, but she gets hooked in by the Blitzcrank. This extra AP on the Tom Kench is going to allow him to take out units even faster. He survives Edge of Night diff, farming more items, Boop. Spetham survives, and Pat Slice is out in 5th.
Okay, so that is enough to overtake Pat Slice no matter what.
Yep.
At this point in time. So Harukawa was 7th? Oh, 8th, I believe, or 6th, or
yeah, tied for 8th or 7th, I guess, with Yakutoba.
Exactly, who is the other portion of this top 4. So 50% of this top 4 is really non-competitive for the win spot. Bruh might be able to take it if Spetham hits 4th and Bruh wins.
Yep.
So there's still a lot that can happen.
Oh, and this
Look
is the
at
matchup.
Bruh's comp. This is the matchup. Beautiful Zephyr, though. And everyone going to eat this gas from Renata. And it might be enough because no one is actually targeting this Renata right now.
Oh, but the Jin's going to right now. You can farm the items, but you can't put them anywhere, Spetham. This was the matchup that Bruh needed and does send Spetham in 4th. If Bruh can win against Yakatopa, they will be able to claim victory here tonight.
And it's going to happen on these last couple rounds. It's a 1v1. We might hit stage 7, I think, for the first time today. Oh, no, one of our lobbies made it to 7-2. But, I mean, that goes to show just how strong some of our initial early game comps have been. A lot of early Malzahars pushing these lobbies a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
As it's going to be Draven. You know, we said we haven't seen a Draven comp since literally the first lobby. And we got to see it here in the last one. Bookended today's fight night.
Ooh, Debonair Braum. Ooh, okay. And wait, actually, okay, Bruh's 40 points right now. Oh, maybe they can't actually win.
So we will rely on our mathematicians behind the screen to find that out. At the end, we'll stop talking about it so we could keep the
Oh, that's not really a 3.
A mystery going into these last couple rounds. And like you said, that is an Aurelia 3 who might not be long for this world. CC! There's a lot of CC in this Debonair comp right now.
Oof.
A lot of damage. That was quick damage too, but only a 2-unit win because of the Silco.
Silco, a little bit of a diff there. Multiple carries for Bruh. And this is a 15 win streak. Might as well make it a Silco 2 as well. Almost everything upgraded on this board, besides the Syndra. But it's good enough to take out an Aurelia 3. That is going to be a strong Zeri in the backline as well. The end game board of both compositions featuring a Zeri. Bruh doing a lot of scouting. Did not swap sides though, and that Echo is going to jump right onto both the Jhin and the Draven.
Okay, this is not most likely the last round. We're probably going to be going into one more PvE round. Lots of damage coming in from the Zeri.
Ooh.
Look at the kaleidoscope that is on the screen right now. That means that the action is packed, but it's going to be a 4-unit win for Bruh, who is very excited about it. Is Yakatopa's item going to be a difference maker here, i.e., oh, actually, a couple units can use it for us, and it's going to be a Gargoyle Stone Plate. With this comp, though, Zeri can push through the Stone Plate, so can Jhin. It's really the Draven that's going to struggle with it, and it's not even our carry, really. We have a Trap Claw on it, so we've got the Jhin instead that's going to be using it.
It is going to be Draven. A lot of gold actually being found, but again, that gold, you don't really need much more of it because all your units are upgraded. The only thing you can roll into is Syndra 2, and might as well roll for fun, right?
Yeah, you're playing with house money now, right? Like, just use it.
Yep.
At this point, steal units, right? There's still things that you can do. Just take all the 5-cost units you see.
Exactly.
So they can't take it.
Jinx.
Take the Aries. Oh, there was 2 Aries in that pack, for example.
At least denying the 5 cost.
Oh, we're looking for the
Syndra.
We were looking for the Syndra.
There's another Syndra.
Yeah. I think that was just to spend the money. Hopefully one day in my life I'll be able to do that IRL.
Just spend money like that without a care in the world.
Just spend money. Yeah, exactly. Just try as hard as I can to get $0 in my bank account. Which right now. Anyway, the Orianna Challenger is going to make that ult pretty big. Actually misses most of the people in the back line. The switch could be a difference maker, but Zeri, man. Zeri has kind of been the thing that I've noticed so far today.
And Zeri is going to feature that endgame board. Bruh is going to take game 5 and plus 20 points for that final score. Meaning that's going to be 50 points for Bruh. But I do believe that with the top 4 from Spetham, it's going to be 52 points.
We'll make sure the mathematicians behind our screens, or they're actually in it, are going to get through this pretty soon, as we do have our final scores.
Let's go ahead and take a look. And yes, Betham 52 points is going to be your Fight Night Rising champion this week. Bruh, just barely not able to hold on to the title, 2 points away. And it was a close third as well by Pat Slice Pizza, who that game, I mean, was really dominant until they just weren't anymore. Just lots of losses back to back
Classic
to back.
TFT.
I know, right? You just win and then you win streak,
Yeah.
and just kind of drop off a cliff in power level. Yakatoba as well rounds out the top 4.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a sneaky top 4 for Yakatopa.
Yeah.
Barely made it in to the top 8 in general.
I know.
And actually is going to come back next week. 3 out of 4 of our returning players from last week are gone. I believe Brubba, the only one making it into the next week. Also, when I mentioned that, I think we both said it's about time for Spetham to win one of these. And it is happening right now. We did pretty well in some, major qualifiers. We didn't quite make the last days, but I don't think we ever got eliminated on the first day.
Yeah.
And now we are going to win our first fight night. This is exactly the type of progress you want to see from a player like Spetham.
And now, if we do get an interview, which I'm hoping we do, we get to ask about that Merkhart game with no mercs.
Yeah. Merkhart game, no merc. I want to know about his name, right? If he's okay with us saying bless you at the end of it.
So many questions.
Yeah, but the overarching theme here is that I think we saw some really good play from all of our top 4 in general. A lot of really good controlled play, not a lot of freaking out, not a lot of dizziness from our top 4 today in general. So it's really good just to see the intention from these players coming through, because that has been something in Fight Night that has been a big separator, is how you approach this game and what you're going to play. Right, the intention was there, the success was there, and for Spetham, the roles were there, especially for Game 3 and Game 4.
Definitely. And I literally can take this top 4 and say a very, very good compliment about every single one of them. I agree with you. I think the top 4 is very impressive. I know I had that Yakatopa compliment of like just that positioning around the scrap echo, like belt thing, which I was impressed by. Pat Slice Pizza, the consistency throughout the whole day, even though it happened to unfortunately be a 5th in that game 5. Those first 3 games were super, super strong, right? Pat Slice came out the gates really swinging, bruh with that Mercs, right? And that cash out to able to get the win here. Zakira second, really good. And Spetham, just a delight over the course of the whole day and popping off when they really, really needed to win on the day. This top 4 is a treat, Boop. That's for sure.
Yeah, winning that 4th lobby is kind of like the penultimate episode, right? And then you just got to finish it out on that last one.
Yeah.
It's something that Game of Thrones wasn't able to do, but Spetham was for today's lobby. I just want to ask about that Merkhart, because I think it was the right play to pick Merkhart there.
Yeah.
But the good news is the game just gave us a totally other comp to play, and I love that we were able to, like we said today, see through the muck on some of these choices, and we just ignored it. And I don't know, I would say 7 out of 10 TFT players, made up statistic, would probably not have made that decision.
I agree. I'm not sure if it's 7 out of 10. I don't know if it's 9 out of 10, but it's a high number that would have be like, no, I need to go Mercs here. It's still early enough. I can make this happen, even if it's just pure stubbornness, right? It's really, really hard to get out of that situation and make it work as well as Spetham did. But even regardless of the players, I mean, the players, gave us just a whole bunch of stuff today in terms of the compositions that we saw on this new patch. And we came in today being like, yes, this is the world's patch. Players are going to look at this, start defining the meta, and start really giving us a treat and a perspective into what we're going to see in the future. But I do think we finally have Spetham on the line. Spetham, congratulations on winning Fight Night Rising. No worries, you are all good. How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good, because I haven't played like actual meta comps in like 2.5 weeks, basically since regional finals has ended. I've been playing on a Smurf, things like Alawi reroll, Rek'Sai reroll, Caitlyn reroll. So I didn't really know what to expect going into today.
Hey, well, maybe not a lot of people did, right? Because we are on a new patch. It is going to be 12.7. Did that maybe change up your approach at all? Like, how were you able to kind of pilot these games all the way to a Fight Night victory with that kind of, just playing off meta stint that you had?
Pretty much the only thing that I had learned was that Kassadin is like the most broken one cost. Literally with the Caitlyn comp, Kassadin I had before tank in Aurelia 3 like the entire game, and I've won that game because of it. So it was one of those where anytime I had a chance to play around like Scholars early game, especially with Kassadin, I would do that, and it saved so much HP.
Very interesting. Very good to hear. And I know, Boop, pass over to you because I know you have some questions here for Spetham.
Yeah, I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, what does your name mean? It's one of my favorite to say. So what's the origin of Spetham?
It's basically my name, so Spencer, and then so comes from my last name. So yeah.
Cool. All right, Spencer. Sorry, that's so weird, isn't it?
It is the second Spencer TFT.
Yeah, exactly. But my other question is, we all saw you pick Mercart in a lobby that you won, and then proceeded to not use it. So when was like the point where you were like, I'm not going to do it? Because I'm not sure other players would have dropped the Mercs completely like you did.
Well, I didn't even hit an Alawi until I think it was like 2-3, so I was like, there's no chance I can even play it, so I was just like, screw it, this game I just have to try and play around Scrap, because that's at least one of the strongest openers, and basically play down an Augment and hope that I could high roll, which I did. Like, I hit
Sure
2
did.
buys, 2 Aurelius, 2 Sivers on 7, I'm like, okay, I guess this is free.
I was honestly a little surprised you actually won that last 1v1 there.
Same,
but you made
actually.
it happen against
Claw
the
Jinx.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tank items on Jinx has always been fun, but you got to got to see it in action today. So speaking of Jinx in comps, what'd you feel about it? I know you play a lot of AP just in general. I remember you playing Lux back in the day. And so is that something that you normally like? Since this meta is a little AP heavy, do you feel like you're got a little bit of an advantage, or do you just feel like you played well today?
Honestly, I'm actually just gonna say playing like all the really random comps, I think helped me learn a little bit more about just I think tempo in general, which I think that was the main thing that I had an advantage with today. Like in the Mutant game where I got the first, I think it was game 4. That one I was able to roll down just slightly on 6 hit the second Malzahar and Nico and just play straight up tempo that game, which I think was a big advantage I had.
Yeah, you had 100 HP till 5-1 that game.
Yeah.
Khroen, off to you.
Yeah, no, it's just very well played once again by them. Congrats on your Fight Night Rising victory. I'm going to turn the floor over to you for any shout outs that you want to give, whether it be people, yourself, or you stream, social media, things like that. The floor is yours.
Shout out to my girlfriend who's over there who's been supporting me, and she was the only person that I had as a moderator when I got raided after the Challenger Series by Soju, which was terrifying. Soju and Ray raided me, and I had 13,000 viewers and one moderator who's my girlfriend. There was a lot of hands up going on. It was terrifying.
Yeah. What's bad? What does this feel like? Yeah. I can only imagine what cultural shock that must have been.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Very much so.
Props to your girlfriend for dealing with that one. Definitely. Anything else?
Shout out to Fight Night Rising. You know, you guys bring a lot of good to the community. I mean, you guys were kind of how I got a little bit of my first start playing competitively more so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
everyone should always sign up for it.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have a Twitter you want to shout out?
Twitch.tv/Spetham. Catch me trolling on my second account, getting it to Challenger while playing only off meta stuff.
Love
Nice.
it. Speaks to my heart.
Yeah, I'm sure Boop's gonna tune into that. Boop loves that kind of content. I'm sure a lot of other people do too. But Spetham, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations, and we will see you here next week to defend your title.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, Boop. There it is. We finally got a chance to talk to Spetham, and I think that was definitely a rewarding experience. A lot of great insight there, and just a great person.
Oh yeah, loved it. And again, for what feels like the 150th time, the winner of Fight Night goes, I actually did practice that.
Yeah, I immediately thought of that too.
Like, why does that happen so often?
Yeah.
Like, it's like the first thing almost everyone who wins Fight Night says.
It's the secret. Just
I
either
think-
don't play that much or don't play meta, and you just come into Fight Night, fresh patch, fresh mind, just win.
I truly believe going into it with that kind of mindset just tells you, oh, I'm not worried.
Yeah,
Right? Like, whatever happens, happens. And
pretty much.
when you're able to kind of like exist in that space competitively, you're usually pretty good, doing pretty good. That's why it's so hard for teams to stay number one for so long.
Yeah.
That's why I always use the UConn women's basketball team. The fact that they have like the 3 out of the 4 highest win streaks ever in
wow.
women's basketball, right? That is so hard to do, to stay on top for that long.
Mhm.
So, we'll see if it's going to be able to happen. But a lot of times people overwork themselves in order to stay on top for that long. And that's probably why we don't see it that often.
I suppose so. That is good insight. But I mean, just a wonderful day, all in all, I think. Great interview, great games, great patch. This is the World's patch, and World's coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm sure everyone is looking forward to that. But that'll do it for us here at Fight Night Rising. This has been Khroen and Boop bringing you Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom, and we'll see you here next time.